I have a mobile phone in my Dantian. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 526. God save me. The divine body of the Shuriken in front of him was too strong. It was different from any void life he had encountered in the past. Not only was the divine body powerful, but the vitality was also so strong. What did the purgatory life rely on to roam the void? It was the powerful vitality. Because of the terrifying vitality, they were fearless and fully exerted their 100% combat power. Even when they were fearless, they could burst out with even more terrifying strength. Another knife. The purgatory life fish demon saw the knife light up in front of him, and he hurriedly swung the giant hammer to block it. Boom. The tip of the sky god knife collided with the giant hammer. The magic hand of the purgatory life fish demon shook, and dark green scales fell off, and green blood seeped and dripped. Looking at Sudong again, Sudong's divine body shook, and divine blood dripped from his palm, but then it recovered. The vigorous blood of the super touched divine body was flowing, like a rosy glow illuminating the sky. The entire Monkey King city could vaguely see this bloody glow. It was a symbol of great achievement in the king's power system. There were strong men at the level of the super city lord fighting. This divine body is too terrible, with vigorous blood and boiling vitality. What kind of monster is this Shuriken? The fish demon used the giant hammer to resist the knife light again. He was too flustered, and his heart was in chaos. He was afraid for the first time since his birth. In his eyes, the Shuriken in front of him was more like a monster than him. If he continued to fight, even if he died, the Shuriken would not die. Kill, kill, kill. Sudong's eyes burned with terrible fighting spirit. The evolution of the super divine body completely changed his fighting style, making it more violent and more crazy. His knife light covered the fish demon. Countless knife lights, destroying the field. Almost instantly, the fish demon's eyes were full of knife lights, endless knife lights and knife shadows, which could not be blocked at all. He could only fight for his life and kill. Sudong was forcing him to fight and kill. Who can withstand the divine body? The fish demon could only swing the giant hammer to fight head on. Too strong. This Shuriken is too strong. This is the Shuriken's greatest reliance. Is this his true strength? If I continue to waste, I will die. The fish demon was scared. He has always been proud of his own purgatory life bloodline, but today he finally saw a monster that is more evil and more terrifying than him. A terrifying Shuriken. With this divine body, what dangerous places can't be ventured, and what power can't be resisted? No, I can't withstand his 10 swords and I will die. Under this outburst, the fish demon roared. His whole body was covered with green blood, and the entire purgatory demon body was on the verge of collapse, in a mess. Save me, Allah, save me. He was crazy, and didn't dare to fight Sudong head on. He turned around and fled, and the dark airflow wrapped around him, and quickly flew towards the center of Monkey King City. Escape. You can't escape, die. Sudong's blood was rising brilliantly, holding a knife and chasing behind. With a flash of black and white light, he easily caught up, and chopped down like a maggot on the tarsal bone. The sky divine sword chopped vertically. The destruction domain erupted. Bang. The fish demon's body was cracked in large areas, and the demon blood was scattered across the sky. But it used this impact force to move forward. Escape. As long as I wait for the arrival of the Allah, I can live. King Shura, if you don't leave, you will die when the Allah arrives. For a life in purgatory like me, you die. Is it worth it? You have great potential, and the Huanquandeofu will not be willing to let you die like this. Think about your future. Think about your descendants. The fish demon roared wildly, but Sudong's face was cold. He completely dominated, and didn't give the fish demon a chance to breathe. Even if the latter said everything today, even if the so-called Allah came, he couldn't save him. He flew 100 miles in the blink of an eye. The last knife. Sudong, who was chasing quickly in midair, suddenly swung his knife. The sky divine sword slashed down fiercely like the creation of heaven and earth. Boom. The dazzling divine sword bloomed under the night sky and instantly fell on the fish demon's already scarred back. Its tail had been broken long ago, and its body was even more broken. Not good. The fish demon felt this fatal knife. His heart was shocked. Cold sweat oozed from his forehead. The sound of air being torn rang in his ears. A terrifying knife tip instantly pierced his chest, and with a puff, it tore his demon body and heart. The fish demon's eyes were wide open. It fell into stillness in an instant. Sudong raised his hand to put away the long knife. A large amount of black air burst out from the fish demon's body. In the black airflow, a wisp of red purgatory breath floated up. High-level purgatory life fish demon, die. Sudong casually made a move and put away some items scattered in the black airflow and the wisp of red airflow. A unicorn horn? Sudong looked at the unicorn horn with the pale golden light among the most items. This is a purgatory material. According to the Lord of the Slaughter Hell, if enough purgatory materials are collected, he can refine a purgatory artifact. Sudong has now collected a white skull and this pale golden unicorn horn, which is considered to be 2 purgatory materials, but the material of this pale golden unicorn horn is obviously much higher than that of the white bone fragment. This fish demon is also carrying a storage bag with many valuable items in it. The most important thing is this high-level purgatory aura. Sudong smiled. He put away the dark red airflow. This is the first high-level purgatory aura he got. This is a treasure. Not bad. Sudong felt the breath of the high-level purgatory aura and felt his mind swaying and excited. This book was recently updated in update. At this moment, this battle had already shaken the entire Monkey King city. The pursuit all the way made many civilians in the Monkey King city see the surging blood and magic light. Is it a super city lord level strongman chasing the monster? That monster is still shouting for the lord? Many civilians talked about it. There were also strong men quietly gathering to explore. The rules of this piece of destruction void are disordered, and the divine body is strong. The divine consciousness is weak, and it is extraordinary to be able to cover the surrounding 10 feet. If you want to explore, you have to fly closer to explore. But everyone saw the blood and energy rising to the sky. That is a symbol of the power and blood of the local Life King. So judging from the situation, it is an exciting battle to hunt monsters. At this moment, a large number of strong men are gathering towards this area, and Sudong is ready to leave with a lot of harvest. Suddenly, he felt a warning sign. Want to leave? Stay. A cold voice penetrated the space and entered Sudong's ears. Sudong's ears felt stinging. His face turned pale in an instant. That true lord? Sudong's divine power aura instantly converged and transformed into the blood energy of the king's power, and then his figure shot away. At this moment, the streets around the city were full of people, and many strong people came, especially in the center of the city, where members of the Shenshin hunting group with strong blood energy were on the way. Even if Monkey King City is the base camp of the purgatory life, this is also the native life of the destruction void. The king's power system is the master, and the purgatory life dare not be too rampant. Above a restaurant in Monkey King City, Sudong's figure fell, and his divine power was completely converged, only emitting a faint blood energy of the king's power. At this moment, Sudong looked up, his eyes piercing the night sky. Just now, the fish demon shouted to the true lord to save him. Who is the true lord? Is it the lord of the Monkey King City? Sudong paid attention to all directions of the sky. Not long after, several streams of light emitted blood energy that soared into the sky, and the vigorous blood energy rose up with various colors of light and quickly gathered. Here it comes. Sudong was watching from 1,000 meters below, with a smile on his face. Chapter 527, The Third Master of Ki. Under the night sky, a flying boat phantom flew quickly and landed slowly in the city. Then, soldiers flew out from it. Each soldier had a strong blood energy, and each of them had a murderous look on their faces and extremely cold eyes. Then, surrounded by many soldiers, a figure flew out. The figure was wearing a golden armor, and the blood energy on his body rose to form a rosy glow, reflecting the red sky. The Shenshin hunting group. Sudong stood on the roof of the restaurant and looked carefully. At this moment, he was 1,000 meters away, with a faint blood energy entangled around him. Many local life masters appeared in the night sky and watched. He was not conspicuous at all among the crowd. Where is the Lord of Monkey King City? The Lord didn't come? Sudong felt a little regretful, and then his divine eyes stared at several figures in the distance. After the Shenshin hunting group arrived, several more figures flew in. These figures were more scattered. Some wore brocade robes, and some looked arrogant. They are from the city lord's mansion. The third young master key. Many powerful people discussed. Sudong's divine eyes moved and looked over. Those people were as bloody as poppy fire, but under the movement of Sudong's divine eyes, their merits and virtues were all visible. 1, 2, 3. More and more figures gathered in the distance were all under Sudong's gaze. This is really the base camp of the purgatory life. Since you appear in front of me, it is your doing. Sudong's eyes flashed with cold light. He watched with a covetous look. The many figures gathered under the night sky also showed murderous intent. This foreign monster dared to fight openly in the Monkey King city. It's too rampant. There are super city lord level powerful people who are hunting these monsters. Why doesn't this super existence appear? Maybe it's a low-key strong man who happened to encounter the monsters causing trouble, so he killed them. The members of the Shenshin hunting group saw the scene of blood rising all over the night sky before, and they firmly believed that it was their native life that was slaughtering the monsters. After dealing with the aftermath, the members of the God Mountain hunting group left. There were a few strong men from the city lord's mansion left. Most of them were geniuses from outside the King's Island. They rose quickly and gathered in the Monkey King city after unlocking the power of the 10 kings. Yan Shihuo is dead. A general is also dead. The third son of the Qi family had a handsome face, and his eyes were shining with cold light. In this operation of the purgatory life, these low-level purgatory life that took over the bodies of local life were just soldiers, and the high-level purgatory life that did not take over the bodies were the commanders, the generals. Usually, the generals would never show up in public, because once they appeared, they would be hunted down by the members of the God Mountain hunting group. In the void of the two worlds, no one dared to challenge the 10 great God Mountains. According to the information obtained by Sudong, among the members of the God Mountain hunting group, there are even strong men at the level of the 10 palaces Shuriking who are hunting monsters. The 10 great God Mountains have too deep a foundation. The purgatory life is afraid. According to the scene, the creatures that the general killed were indeed native creatures. How could the general be killed by native creatures? It may be a low-key strongman hidden in the two worlds. Now that the Island of Kings is closed, a strongman has appeared in this land of destruction. We should be more careful. This is the order of the Lord. Everyone reminded. Then a feminine young man looked at the handsome Ki-san Gangzi. Ki-san, can you find any clues about the Shuriking who destroyed the Cold Blood sect? The Lord is already urging us to kill the Shuriking. We are investigating. The Ki-san Gangzi said. The general is also stupid. He actually shouted to the Lord for help in the end. If the Void Forces knew that there was a Lord hidden here, once the outside world was notified, our major events might be in turmoil. A strong man from the city lord's mansion secretly blamed them. They had been planning for a long time and had been waiting. Things had reached a critical moment and they must not make any mistakes. After the discussion, the group of people dispersed. The storm tonight has not dissipated, and the whole Monkey King city is shaking. The third son of Qi had a handsome appearance, and returned to the mansion with his attendants. Let's go to the dungeon, he ordered directly. Many attendants immediately led the way. The third son of Qi had a very high status. Now he was a favorite of the city lord in Monkey King city. He was also very powerful. He was naturally given the important task of unlocking the power of the 10 kings and mastering the laws of the kings. A large part of the city of Monkey King City was under the jurisdiction of the third son of Qi. With power, there would naturally be darkness. The so-called dungeon was just a small cave dug underground, in which a figure was imprisoned. At this moment, in the dungeon, a man was tied to a stone pillar burning with strange flames. The man was full of blood and had a painful look on his face. He lowered his head and gasped. "Young master." The guards in the dungeon saluted respectfully. When the man heard the voice, his body trembled instinctively. He opened his eyes in fear and looked forward. Seeing the third son of Qi walking in slowly was like seeing a demon. "Master Qi-san, spare my life, spare my life, spare my life. You dare to betray me for a woman." Master Qi-san snorted. The man shook his head repeatedly and said in a hoarse voice, "Master, I have 3 daughters in my family. 2 of them were dedicated to you. Only the last one is left. Please give my last daughter a chance to live." Live. I'll give her a chance to live, and you can die. This book was recently updated in #@. Update. Master Keeson sneered, with a bloodthirsty light flashing in his eyes. They are the life of purgatory, and they are free and easy in the outside world. Everyone is actually uncomfortable when they enter the two-world galaxy to take over the local life. Asking them to restrain their temper and not vent? That's a dream. Key-san, I worked like a slave for you and did all kinds of evil things, but in the end I ended up like this. You are not a human, you are a demon. You will not die well. There will be retribution. The man finally showed his ferocious face. He himself had unlocked the power of the 8 kings and was a powerful man. He was also a man who killed people decisively and took their lives lightly. It was only because he offended a stronger person that he surrendered to the third young master key, but he did not expect to end up like this. Demon. Retribution? The third young master key sneered. You retreat. I want to enjoy it. He waved his hand. Many guards in the dungeon retreated immediately, and the man showed a horrified look. At this moment, outside the dungeon of the third young master key, a ray of black and white light instantly shuttled in. The Lord of the Monkey King City did not show up. The Lord seems to be of a very high status. It is necessary to report to the 6 Tiger Shurikings, but before that, I want to kill enough of the purgatory lives in the Monkey King City. Sudong said secretly. His target this time was the third young master key. Among the purgatory lives that he had seized, the third young master key had the most sins and seemed to have a high status. In the deep dungeon passage, Sudong turned into a stream of light and moved forward quickly. In the blink of an eye, he arrived outside the deepest dungeon. Among the guards waiting outside the dungeon, there was a native life strongman who had unlocked the power of the 10 kings. He saw the ray of light, but he only saw it. The light flashed in an instant. Blood burst out. What? The guard's eyes widened, and he died in an instant. In an instant, the third young master key, who was torturing the man in the dungeon, also noticed it. He couldn't help but frowned. Who dares to break into my mansion? He turned his head, and a figure with cold eyes had appeared in front of him. At the same time, the tortured dying man also saw it. Chapter 528 Artifact, Cheyenne Belt. Assassin? He tried to open his eyes. He burst into spirit at this moment. Someone came to assassinate Key-san. Die. Sudong's eyes were cold. Swish. A black knife light shot out from Sudong's hand like black lightning. The speed of the knife light exceeded the speed of light. The power burst directly passed through the head of Master Key-san, whose eyes were wide open in fear. This knife skill, you are sure? Master Key-san had no time to react. Black air flowed around his body and tried to block it, but the black knife light was too fast. Puff. Blood instantly splashed out and splashed on the face of the tortured and bound man, who also laughed hideously and crazily. Retribution. Retribution has come. Retribution has come. Evil man. Sudong glanced at him and frowned. The man had been tortured to a horrible state and was full of sins. Without the slightest mercy, Sudong's mind moved slightly, and a wisp of soul crushed over. The man's eyes glared, and he died with a crazy smile. Although he died, he was extremely happy. He saw retribution. The evil third young master key died before him. After doing all this, Sudong took a wisp of purgatory breath floating from the body of the third young master key in his hand. Then he turned into a stream of light and left. He didn't expect to ask anything from these purgatory lives. From the purgatory tower, we know that these purgatory lives are extremely crazy and murderous, and asking is a waste of expression. Young master, protect the young master. Young master. After a while, a group of guards swarmed in, but they could only see the body of the third young master key in the dungeon and the horrible bloody scene. Quick, report to the city lord. It's a demon. It's the demon who is causing trouble. In a flash, the Monkey King City, which was still shaking because of the killing of the demon, was noisy again. This night, the Monkey King City was extremely lively. First it was young master Yan Shihuo, then young master Key-san. Both of them were talented and powerful men from outside the King's Island, and they were all ruthlessly killed. The whole Monkey King City was shaken. There was a demon targeting these geniuses. It was extremely cruel. The Shenshin hunting group, which had just returned, was dispatched again. The guards of the city lord's mansion were also dispatched on a large scale. This time, they came to the residence of young Master Kisan, and a large number of soldiers gathered outside the residence. What is going on? Is it a purge against the city lord's mansion? Is this the rhythm of the assassination? Those who are interested are excited and discussing it. The Shenshin hunting group said that this time it was suspected that the demon was the cause of the trouble, but the cruel scene in the dungeon of young Master Kisan shocked the members of the Shenshin hunting group. It was too cruel. Young Master Kisan was so cruel that it was not a pity to be killed by the demon. Humph, as a genius, enjoying the resources provided by the Shenshin, instead of practicing hard to improve your strength and hunt demons, you are so crazy? Shocked, the Shenshin hunting group was shocked. The city lord's mansion was even more shocked. Pass the word down. Let all those who are taking over the body be careful. We will kill and purge those who are targeting us. I don't know if it is a local life or a void life. Shocked. Continuous killings. Monkey King City was completely shocked, and the entire high level was shocked. In a tavern in Monkey King City, a man holding a wine pot, performing invisibility and hiding in a corner, drinking wine casually, staring with dazed eyes, listening to the discussion in the tavern. Being able to perform invisibility in a place like the Two Realms Galaxy, where the rules are disordered, hiding the body means that his strength is extremely terrifying, especially good at assassination. I followed this Kisan from outside to this Monkey King City, and my mission was to hunt him down, but someone got there first. Is this man a void life or a local strongman? The Two Realms Galaxy is extremely chaotic, with complex forces and strong people appearing and disappearing. It is difficult to find out who died in his hands. Far outside Monkey King City, a fat middle-aged man with a big face had a sluggish look. In front of him was a beautiful woman who was covered in black robes, but could not hide her graceful figure. Her pupils flashed with strange divine light. A moment later, the middle-aged man was directly searched and died. Killed Yan Shihuo and Kisan in a row. Yan Shihuo even wanted to hunt me down, but was killed in a blink of an eye. Was it done by King Shura or the Arhat Buddha of the Eternal Buddha realm? Under the black robe, the blue-clothed goddess was still gorgeous and charming. It's a mess. The purgatory lives that have entered the two worlds are gathering on the Island of Kings. Who is the true master? There must be a big plot. If we can investigate this plot clearly, it will be a great achievement. The blue-clothed goddess eyes were bright. She had been dormant here for a long time, so she naturally noticed it, and keenly felt that this place was not simple. She suspected that there was a void life taking action, but then shook her head. Suddenly, she thought of the terrible Shura King, but immediately shook her head again. Killing two geniuses in a row, and in the city? The possibility of void life is extremely low. Once it starts, it will be easily discovered. The blue-clothed goddess pondered. This book has been updated recently in .. Update. The Cold Blood sect must have been destroyed by him, but the deaths of the two people in Monkey King City should have nothing to do with him. Void life directly entered the city to kill. Unrealistic. Even if it is invisibility, it will be exposed once it starts. The soaring divine power is a beacon in the darkness, and will immediately attract the Shenshin hunting group. Sudong's body is wrapped in blood, and he operates the eternal immortal profound art. He is a strong native life. After killing 3 purgatory lives unexpectedly, other purgatory lives should be more careful. Well, it's time to restrain themselves. Sudong still enjoys the feeling of killing those purgatory lives directly in the dark. When he came to Monkey King City, Poppy Stone Fire was his first target. The fish demon high-level purgatory life was a coincidence, and the third son of Ki was the second target. Killing 3 purgatory lives in a row, Sudong was very happy. This not only sharpens one's own strength, but also allows one to obtain the breath of purgatory. Sudong feels satisfied. However, hunting purgatory life is refreshing, but one still has to be low-key. This is a void of the two worlds. The 10 great sacred mountains have a large number of high-end combat forces, and there are at least many who are more powerful than the 5-crown Shura King. Once discovered, it will be over. First, restrain and improve my strength. Sudong found a place to live in the city at random. He has a lot of wealth, and he can't spend it all in Monkey King City for a lifetime. This residence is not bad. The material can even isolate the blood and breath from the outside. Isolate and explore. Sudong lived in a spacious and luxurious room. Then he began to look through the gains after the assassination that night. The 3 purgatory lives, Yanshihuo and Ki-san, all have treasures hidden in their bodies. Only the fish demon education life has a storage bag. This Yanshihuo is the poorest. He doesn't have a treasure to show off. Sudong explored and found that Yanshihuo's leftovers were the cheapest, with only a few property and a few king stones, as well as some cultivation techniques. Ki-san is not much different, except that he has more wealth and more wangzishi. After all, he has some power and is considered a figure. In short, he is not as good as a Luo-kun of Hangsu sect. After all, he is a local life and has been running Hangsu sect for tens of thousands of years, so his foundation is very deep. This fish demon, there is a good treasure. Sudong flipped his hand, and suddenly a rather exquisite belt appeared in his hand, with 2 lines, one black and one gold, wrapped around the belt. As soon as the belt was in his hand, an ancient and vast aura emanated, and a faint aura of divine power was contained and flowing in it. I'm so lucky. A divine weapon. This fish demon actually has a divine weapon in his hand. Sudong smiled, and his soul instantly entered the divine weapon, refining and recognizing the master, and many information entered Sudong's mind. The divine weapon Shianhua belt can increase the power of divine power by 17 times. It has the special effect of Shianhua, which can instantly increase the speed by 10 times, and last for a cup of tea. Sudong's eyes lit up. A divine weapon that can increase the power of divine power and also increase speed. Chapter 529 Upgrade again. Ultimate mode. Purgatory life cannot use divine weapons. This Shianhua belt should be obtained by the fish demon killing a strong man in the void. Sudong thought secretly. They hunted the purgatory life, and the purgatory life also hunted them. In comparison, the purgatory life hunted more void life. Of course, the number of strong void life is more than that of purgatory life, which is why the void life has the upper hand in the current battle. The purgatory life is weaker. No matter which strong man the fish demon killed to obtain the Shianhua belt, now the Shianhua belt belongs to him. A divine weapon that can increase the power and speed of divine power at the same time, in Huanquindeo should be able to sell for nearly 2 million Huanquindeo fruits, and it is a belt. It does not conflict with my divine weapon. Sudong's face was full of smiles. You can't equip 2 artifacts in the same part. Sudong just didn't have an artifact belt. Counting this Shianhua belt, Sudong now has a total of 5 artifacts. The Sky God Sword, the Frost Taoist Robe, the Red Dragon God Ring, and the Flowing Cloud Boots. It can be said that he is fully armed and is rich among the many Shurikings in Huanquindeo. The increase in divine power is 17 times, and my 77 times divine power is superimposed, which is 94 times, and it will soon break 100. Sudong smiled happily. This time he made a big profit. He easily refined the Shianhua belt. The Shianhua belt was inlaid with 2 black and gold silk threads, which were wrapped around Sudong's waist and automatically wrapped around his body. Just the black and gold silk threads wrapped around his body made Sudong feel that his divine body was much lighter. This Shianhua belt is a divine weapon specially made for the strong body method. It's time to refine the purgatory aura. Sudong sat cross-legged on the carpet in the room. The blood and energy around him gradually converged. In the room isolated from everything, Sudong held his breath. His core data space was decomposing and refining the purgatory aura. At the same time, he was sensing every change in himself. When he first merged the purgatory aura, it was merged into the mobile phone in his Dantian. That was the first low-level purgatory aura. Since then, the low-level purgatory aura has no effect on the mobile phone in his Dantian. Now, most of Sudong's purgatory aura was spent on strengthening his innate comprehension. However, as he refined more low-level purgatory aura, the strengthening of his innate comprehension was also minimal. As for the strengthening of his divine body, the super divine body that evolved after fusing the blood of the origin did not absorb low-level purgatory aura at all. Because in terms of level, low-level purgatory life is not as good as Sudong's divine body, and even high-level purgatory life can only be on par with Sudong's divine body. Low-level purgatory aura Continue to strengthen your innate comprehension and stop when it has no effect at all. With a stronger innate comprehension, it is an improvement in the comprehension of the mysteries of the way of death and the perception of the heavenly sword method. Moreover, Sudong created his own body movement, which required a strong talent and understanding. As for the high-level purgatory life breath, of course, he would strengthen the mobile phone in his Dantian as soon as possible. The first time I strengthened the mobile phone in Dantian, there was an 8-star application. This is the first time I absorbed the high-level purgatory life breath, and it should also be strengthened and improved. Sudong decomposed the high-level purgatory life breath into Dantian, and the mobile phone in Dantian suddenly shone with golden light, easily absorbing the high-level purgatory life breath. Absorbed. Sudong's soul observed the changes in the mobile phone in Dantian. The mobile phone, which emitted dazzling golden light, absorbed the high-level purgatory life breath, and suddenly a strange invisible energy burst out from it. It was like the violent energy of the sun exploding, filling Sudong's entire Dantian, causing Sudong, who was originally full of expectations, to suddenly change his face. Suppress. Sudong hurriedly mobilized his divine power to suppress the violent energy, so as not to burst his Dantian directly. At the same time, his mind invaded the inside of the phone in his Dantian. His golden hands were filled with violent energy, like a nuclear explosion, impacting and shaking. Boom, boom, boom. The violent energy explosion surged in Sudong's Dantian. This was pure energy. The energy was exploding and raging. After a while, everything stopped. It's over? Sudong's will penetrated in and carefully observed the changes in the phone. The App Store didn't change. After the last enhancement, there was a prompt for the App Store upgrade, but this time it was a direct energy explosion. Huh. There's a change in the mode selection. Ultimate mode. Sudong's eyes lit up. The extreme mode disappeared, replaced by the ultimate mode. Ultimate represents the ultimate, the final height. I've heard of the ultimate road and the ultimate king. Now his phone has an ultimate mode. Ultimate mode. Start. Sudong directly activated this mode. Boom. The divine power, king power, will consciousness, and divine soul all around Sudong all seemed to have turned into an erupting volcano. They erupted instantly, and the sky-high energy directly filled his whole body. While the explosion was going on, Sudong's mind was extremely clear. All-round explosion, divine power, king power, and even will consciousness exploded and merged. How powerful must the power increase be? Shocked. The violent energy flowed in the divine body, and Sudong's control of this energy made his divine body tremble involuntarily. The bursting blood and ki were like a rosy flame, rising wildly on Sudong's body surface. The power increase is 100 times the previous one. Sudong couldn't help but be shocked in his heart. This increase was too terrible. He could feel the incredible energy in his body filling and exploding, and the temperature of the entire divine body instantly reached an incredible height. If it weren't for the Taoist robes, belts, and combat boots he was wearing, which were all artifacts, he would have been burned to ashes in an instant. Even so, the frost Taoist robes were twisted and deformed. Kai. This book has been recently updated on @ Update. Sudong raised his palm, and the energy contained in the edge of his palm directly stirred the space and tore it apart. The power of the divine body alone has reached the level of the past when he used the heavenly sword technique. This is a great improvement, a great progress. Sudong was shocked and ecstatic. No matter how strong his imagination was, he dared not imagine that his own strength would usher in such a surge. How to relieve worries, only to increase strength. At night, in a wilderness outside the Monkey King city, the wind was blowing. The weeds were dancing wildly. In the wilderness, a figure was vaguely revealed. He was wearing a black robe, and the blood around him was dancing wildly, reflecting the glow, but few people came here. In the glow, Sudong was breathing slowly, and a large amount of divine power filled his body. He has completely mastered the ultimate mode, and understands the time and consumption of this ultimate mode. In the ultimate mode, all the energy in Sudong's body exploded 100-fold. The only side effect was that in this state, full strength attacks could only be used 3 times. After 3 times, the ultimate mode would disappear. Return to normal. In the ultimate mode, the power is amplified 100-fold. One strike can crush and kill the opponent. 3 full strength attacks means 3 strikes. Sudang stood in the wilderness. He directly activated the ultimate mode. Suddenly, a terrible blood-colored glow appeared on Sudang's body. The whole person was instantly enveloped by pure energy light, turning into an energy light man, with boiling high temperature rising on his body surface. At this moment, Sudang felt that the whole world in front of him was different. One force broke all laws. The mountains and rivers in front of him, the world, were like paper. So powerful. Sudang closed his eyes. The surging energy exploded and flowed in every part of his body. Boom. Sudang swung the first strike. The terrible knife light directly tore the earth apart. The knife light crisscrossed thousands of miles, and the space was torn and shattered. Chapter 530 The Killing Feast begins. Second knife. Swinging the knife again. The knife light with terrible power reflecting the origin of the way of death was like a beast, violently destroying the mountain in front of it, and cutting the entire night sky. Third knife. This is the ultimate knife, with the ultimate mystery and ultimate will, pointing directly to the 8th level of the outer world, the strongest knife at the level of the Holy Spirit Void Ancestor. Boom. This knife is like a dazzling meteor, breaking through the flickering night sky, and blooming wildly under the night. Because it was in the wilderness, Sudang did not restrain the blood energy around him. He was bursting and enjoying the pleasure of power brought by the ultimate mode. This feeling is too wonderful, and the powerful power is enough to make anyone sink. Unfortunately, in the ultimate mode, only the 3 strongest attacks can be triggered, and cannot be used. This cycle is almost exactly 24 hours. That is to say, the ultimate mode can only be triggered once a day. Although there are only 3 attacks, the deterrent power is still amazing. This is a killer move. Don't be too greedy. The ultimate mode has given me the combat power to challenge the 5 crown shuriken. Sudang smiled. That's enough. In the past, his power increased by 77 times, which included many external objects such as artifacts. Without so many artifacts, his strength would only reach the standard of the 2 crown shuriken. With the artifact enhancement, he can reach the top level of the 2 crown shuriken. At this level, if it is increased by 20 times, it will be the standard of the 3 crown shuriken. If it is increased by 50 times, it will be almost the level of the 4 crown shuriken. If it is increased by 100 times, it will be the level of the 5 crown shuriken. However, this is including the artifact enhancement. You can't bring artifacts to the ranking battle in the Deo Mansion. The ultimate mode is amazing, in that it can make Sudang's attack intensity reach a new height. It can be said that he has entered a brand new level for a short time. Mastering this power can also make his sword skills faster and stronger. Sudang stood in the weeds, put away his sword, the ultimate mode retreated, the light around him also faded, and everything returned to calm. After the mobile phone merged with the first low-level purgatory aura, I got the 8-star application, and the evolution of the divine body advanced by leaps and bounds. After merging with the first high-level purgatory aura, I got the ultimate mode. Haha. This purgatory life is really my lucky star. Sudang laughed. Well, to thank you, let me give you a big gift. Sudang's eyes lit up, and the surge in strength made him full of desire and confidence to fight. In the Monkey King city, a large number of purgatory lives gathered. This is a feast. Tonight, let's go and deal with a few purgatory lives. Sudang's eyes contained a cold light. It would be best to meet a high-level purgatory life. In the Monkey King city, the night of the 2 worlds is extremely long, and there is no moonlight, only the sky is flickering, as if it will break and destroy at any time. Such a night is the night of killing. A mansion in the Monkey King city. This mansion is the mansion of Master Lu Yun, with an area of 100 miles, much larger than the mansions of Poppy Fire and Master Kisan. No one knows that this mansion is big enough, and there is an even larger underground palace under the mansion. Even though 2 infernal beings who had seized bodies and a general of infernal beings have died in Monkey King city, there are still many infernal beings enjoying themselves in this underground palace, because there are 2 generals here, and 8 infernal beings including Lu Yun who have seized bodies of local beings. With their combined strength, it is impossible for them to be assassinated. Hey, this is the blood of the Buddha from the 10,000 ancient Buddha realm that I hunted. The Buddha's golden body is perfect, and the divine blood contains the Dao element, which is extremely delicious. Haha. Try the thigh meat of the divine unicorn clan that I roasted. The handsome looking Mr. Lu Yun had strange blood colored veins on his face, and his eyes turned completely black. There was a faint bloodthirsty luster like a beast emerging in them. They were eating, drinking, and enjoying a gluttonous feast. On weekdays, they had to disguise themselves as local beings on the ground, and were restricted by the 10 great divine mountains. They couldn't stand it. Only here can they vent. TSK, the flesh and blood of this divine unicorn is still delicious. Last time I sneaked out and sucked the flesh and blood of the native life of a sect, but I didn't feel satisfied. I'm satisfied with just one bite of the flesh and blood of this divine unicorn. A young man in brocade clothes smiled. His mouth turned into a hideous insect, his long and sharp mouthpart stained with blood, talking and laughing wantonly. Lu Yun, the life of purgatory. Su Dong's figure appeared above Lu Yun's mansion, and he deliberately restrained his breath. No one noticed that there were many guards and servants in the mansion. Unlike those around the Luo Shubei of the Cold Blood sect, these servants were native life without any sins. After all, they were in the Monkey King city, and were guarded by the Shenshin hunting group. These people were more disciplined on the surface. Su Dong wanted to kill the life of purgatory, but he didn't want to slaughter these innocent people. I have to find Lu Yun. Whoosh. He contained the blood of the king's power, just like a normal native life, and fell straight down, then used his body skills to turn into black and white light and instantly shuttled through the entire mansion. Su Dong solely covered the surrounding area of a dozen feet, exploring a little bit. As soon as he explored, he easily found the entrance to a room underground palace. So it's in the underground palace. Su Dong's eyes were cold, and he flew in directly. This book was recently updated in #@. Update. Many purgatory creatures in the underground palace were eating and drinking. Suddenly, the door of their underground palace opened. The 2 high-level purgatory creatures sitting at the top opened their eyes. One was covered with black hair all over his body, similar to some kind of ape, and the other was completely bald, without a nose or ears, only eyes and a mouth. He had the most eyes, a total of 9 eyes, and each of them flashed with the magic light of sin. The 2 high-level purgatory creatures were the first to discover it. They both stood up suddenly and looked in front of the underground palace. The purgatory creatures who were enjoying themselves in the underground palace, including Lu Yun, had not yet reacted to what had happened. Violent blood, native life. The 2 high-level purgatory life forms were puzzled. Only purgatory life forms can enter our underground palace. How can native life forms come? Just kill them. Both of them are high-level purgatory life forms, and their strength is comparable to that of the fish demon. The 2 of them joined forces. As long as it was not the super hunting members of the Shenshin hunting group who took action, they were confident in facing any danger. 9 eyes. You want to kill people to absorb evil spirits. This native life is handed over to you. The 2 high-level purgatory life forms were still humble to each other. Okay, brother ZHE, I'll let you see my methods. The 9-eyed high-level purgatory life form nodded. He likes killing the most, and the more he kills, the stronger he is. 2 high-level purgatory life forms. 8 purgatory life forms that have taken over bodies. Haha. I'm so lucky. Su Dong walked straight into the underground palace and saw the scene in the underground palace at a glance. He didn't feel troubled, but felt lucky. The purgatory life forms in the underground palace all looked over, and they were all stunned. A native life. Die, you unlucky little fellow. The 9-eyed purgatory life had already made a move, and the 9 eyeballs burst out with evil magic light, and instantly shot towards Su Dong. Quick and decisive, I'll finish you off. Su Dong thought. Ultimate mode. Start. Boom. Su Dong's entire body burst out with energy light in an instant, turning into a person in the form of light, and then he drew his sword, and the sky god sword behind him was unsheathed. His speed was too fast, and the terrifying and vast energy burst out in an instant. This light. The high-level purgatory life with 9 eyeballs bursting out with dark magic light was surprised. He had never seen this kind of light. Chapter 531. One Night of Massacre, the final goal. Although he felt strange about the method used by the native life in front of him, he was a high-level purgatory life after all. Hunting the Holy Spirit Void Ancestor in the Void was also a common thing. Naturally, he was full of confidence in the face of any danger. He still calmly shot 9 magic lights at the figure in front of him. But as soon as the magic light touched the light, his face changed. No. His powerful purgatory magic light burst out at the light man in front of him, and the hot energy light directly burned his magic light clean. The energy like a volcanic eruption instantly swept the entire hall. What method is this? The 9-night higher level purgatory life was still confused. Be careful. The anxious voice of the companion next to him suddenly penetrated the mind of the 9-night higher level purgatory life. A knife light lit up instantly. The 9-night higher level purgatory life suddenly increased the magic light in his eyes, and the 9 magic lights instantly turned from the thickness of a thumb into a magic light as thick as a bucket and burst out. A native life can resist my magic light. He roared in his heart. He didn't believe it. At a distance of less than a few dozen meters, Sudong swung out the first knife in his ultimate mode. The terrifying knife light was extremely fast and powerful, and the 9-night higher level purgatory life had no time to block it. The sharp and terrifying knife light easily tore through his dark magic light and instantly chopped on his demon body. The knife light was like cutting tofu, and it cut his head open with a single blow, and instantly cut it in half. A large amount of black mist surged. Swish. The knife light directly tore through the black mist that surged out of the 9-night higher level purgatory life. That was the origin of the purgatory life, and it was directly wiped out. The 9 eyeballs of the 9-night higher level purgatory life were cut in half, all of which contained fear and disbelief. He couldn't believe that he actually died in the hands of a local life, and he couldn't believe that this local life actually killed him with one knife. My burst of strength in the ultimate mode can be comparable to the level of the 5-crown Shuriken, killing a top-level high-level purgatory life of the 2-crown Shuriken. Sudong's eyes flashed with coldness. This is slaughter. Easy. What happened? That knife light. The 9-eyed general was killed with one knife. A large number of purgatory creatures in the entire underground palace stared with wide eyes. Everything happened too fast. From Sudong's appearance in the underground palace to 9-eye's attack, it was only a moment. 9-eyed purgatory life was killed in an instant? How can he be so strong? The purgatory life covered with black hair changed his face. Kill 9-eyed with one knife. They are purgatory creatures, difficult to die, and difficult to destroy, but they were killed with one knife. Escape. There was no hesitation. This terrifying figure was too scary, and could easily slaughter them. Want to escape? The cold voice resounded in the underground palace. Sudong's figure moved, took a step casually, flashed a black and white light, and performed the Xian Luo Wang Xiang body method. He burst into speed, and appeared in front of the purgatory life in an instant. Ah. I'll fight you. Die, die, die. The purgatory life covered with black hair burst out with magic patterns all over his body, and the magic patterns contained terrifying power. It turned into a phantom like a beast, and rushed directly towards Sudong. He burst out with all his strength in an instant, trying to kill his way out, but a terrifying knife light appeared again, instantly tearing his magic pattern, and the knife light reflected a scene of destruction. He had seen that knife technique before. This is the sky beyond the sky. The black-haired purgatory life size widened. This knife was so terrifying, as if in front of this knife, the void would be cut. This terrifying knife came from the void, which could shock the endless era of the void, and was known as the first knife technique in the void. Only then did he understand that he was not killed by the native life, but died at the hands of the void life. Void life, is it so strong without becoming the Holy Spirit Void Ancestor? If this kind of life informed purgatory, the intelligence alone would gain great credit. Unfortunately, he had no chance. The knife light easily penetrated the magic energy on his body, and then easily tore his body. The black-haired purgatory life died, and black mist surged on his body, with a light red purgatory breath floating in it, and a piece of white jade-like bones. Purgatory materials. Sudong waved his hand, and collected the 2 high-level purgatory life auras, including the 9-eyed purgatory life, and also collected the white jade-like bones. After doing all this, he then turned his head and looked into the underground palace. The 8 native lives in the underground palace that were possessed by the purgatory life suddenly changed their faces in fear. Dead. 2 generals, killed with 2 swords. Lu Yun staggered back, his face full of shock and panic. They were full of confidence in their own generals, but they were killed so easily. Run. Among the 8 figures, 2 insect-like wings appeared behind some of them, and they wanted to escape. Spare my life, spare my life. Some of them were fat and strong, but they knelt on the ground at this moment, begging for mercy and fear. Go to hell. Sudan glanced at the insect-like purgatory life that was still quite fast and turned into a residual image and pointed his finger. None of them had burst out their full strength in the ultimate mode and pointed his finger. Instantly turned into a dazzling flying knife light. The terrifying power even caused the stone pillars in the underground palace to explode. The knife light was too fast and easily caught up with the purgatory life. The purgatory life wanted to twist and dodge, but the flying knife light had already pierced his body and killed him directly. Then 7 flying knife lights emerged and burst out, including Lu Yun and those purgatory lives who knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. They were all killed instantly. Black mist was floating, and the underground palace was in a mess. Sudan collected the purgatory breath and many scattered items. This book was recently updated in #@. Update. These purgatory lives are not easy to kill in the outside world, but here, they are killed in groups. Sudan said secretly. In the outside world, the purgatory lives are tenacious and extremely cunning. Even if they can't defeat them, they can ask for help instantly. Killing a purgatory life requires extremely strong strength. Unlike here, the purgatory lives that have been possessed are living targets. And these purgatory beings are all very arrogant. If I assassinate them like this, I might be able to kill them one by one. After taking down a nest of purgatory beings in Lu Yun's mansion, he did not even rest and headed to the mansion of another genius young master in Monkey King City, Qiu Meng, who was also possessed by purgatory beings. Who did Qiu Meng send a message to in the end? Sudan killed Qiu Meng with one knife. He could only vaguely see that Qiu Meng crushed a jade talisman, as if he was sending a message, and then died. No matter what, let's kill happily this night. Assassinating these purgatory beings is about speed. He was assassinating. Once these purgatory beings were on guard, he would find it difficult to find them, not to mention assassinating them. So he didn't have much time, so he tried to kill more purgatory beings in one night. The more he killed, the more he earned. Then Sudan hurried on his way under the cover of night. His target was all the geniuses in Monkey King City who were suspected of being possessed by purgatory beings. East City, West City, South City, North City. Killing everywhere. The previous battle with Poppy Fire attracted many purgatory creatures. These purgatory creatures seemed to be extremely confident in Monkey King City. After taking over the local creatures, they were all superior and felt that no one could do anything to them. But they didn't expect Sudan to sweep the entire Monkey King City overnight. Those who like to torture and kill like the third young master Key, and those who like to ravage and enjoy like Poppy Fire. They were all killed without any defense. No matter whether they were high level purgatory creatures or low level ones, they were all destined to be crushed and slaughtered. City Lord's Mansion. Sudan came to the last stop. Under the night, Sudan looked at the luxurious palace building below and ordered many purgatory creatures to gather in Monkey King City. The City Lord of Monkey King City was his ultimate goal. Chapter 532, Lord of Monkey King City. In the spacious mansion, 3 layers of guards were patrolling back and forth. The City Lord's mansion. The guards are so strict. Sudan said it was strict, but he went in quietly under the cover of night. As long as his divine power was not exposed, sneaking into such a mansion was no different from sneaking into a mortal mansion for a god of his level. The City Lord's mansion covers an area of hundreds of miles and is the largest mansion in the entire Monkey King City. There are many palaces and pavilions in it. The City Lord of Monkey King City is the most powerful person in the entire city, and he is supported by the 10 great sacred mountains behind him. He is a legend in himself. The mansion is heavily guarded. Sudan sneaked in quietly. He released his divine thoughts to cover and explore along the way. This City Lord of Monkey King City has risen rapidly, and the speed of his rise is extremely fast. The probability of him being possessed by the purgatory life is very high. Whoosh. Sudan, dressed in a black robe, shuttled to the center of the palace in just a blink of an eye under the cover of night. With a flash of black and white light, Sudang appeared directly in the palace. The huge palace was brightly lit. However, there was not even a maid in the huge palace. A young figure in a white robe was sitting in front of a long table. There were many files on the table. He read the files carefully, as if he was studying something. Sudang was floating above the palace. His breath was restrained, and only a faint blood energy surrounded his body. The immortal king body was automatically running, providing him with vigorous vitality and blood energy. The Lord of Monkey King City. Although he had never seen him, Sudang felt the blood energy fluctuations and faint power flowing from the figure below, and he knew that this was the legendary lord of the city. His divine eyes were running, bursting with scorching light, and he checked the foundation of the lord of the city above. But what surprised Sudang was that the lord of Monkey King City was surrounded by surging blood energy, without a trace of sinful black light, and no breath of purgatory. Not possessed. Is it a local life force? Sudang was stunned. His guess all along was wrong. The lord of Monkey King City was not a purgatory life. Sudang glanced at the files on the latter's desk. He could vaguely see words like relics of the kings and relics of the super ancient destruction. It's not a life of purgatory. I came to the wrong place. Sudang shook his head helplessly. It seems that the Lord of Monkey King City is a real genius. Yes, the void of the two worlds is so vast. With so many people, it is normal for a few real geniuses to appear. Sudang thought so, and then he used his body skills to leave. With his body skills, he can naturally come and go without a trace. But just a moment after he left, a figure slowly emerged in a dark corner of the palace. The figure was thin and hunched. He saluted respectfully to the Lord of Monkey King City. See. The Lord of Monkey King City looked up and looked at the hunched figure next to him. Well, the body is full of blood and energy. It is undoubtedly one of our people. The hunched figure spoke. The voice was like a machine, extremely dry. Yes, and he is good at body movement and speed. It seems that his body movement speed is even faster than mine. I wonder if he is a strong man from the two holy places. I have reported to my master. My master told me that, since this person is secretly cleaning up those monsters, let him do it. The Shenshin hunting group will also cooperate and not interfere. The Lord of Monkey King City smiled. The king's ruins will be opened. These foreign monsters also want to interfere. Now we just need to find the entrance. The entrance to the king's ruins will only appear when it is closed. Where is it? He frowned. The hunched figure shook his head. The 10 great sacred mountains have spent hundreds of thousands of years trying to find the entrance to the king's relics, so the city lord doesn't have to worry too much. Don't worry. Nowadays, the foreign monsters are so rampant that they all want to annex us and occupy our world. You've also seen how those monsters are causing chaos in our world, slaughtering people at will, killing people wantonly, and invading openly. Now the pressure from the 10 great sacred mountains is getting greater and greater. The foreign monsters have too strong a foundation. According to my estimation, even the monsters that are invading now are less than 1/10 or 1/12 of them. One day, these foreign monsters will invade our world in large numbers. By then, the 10 great sacred mountains can't stop them, and the 2 holy places can't stop them either. A new king must appear. Surpass the ultimate king. The face of the city lord of Monkey King City was extremely solemn. Their situation was not optimistic. He didn't want to see his companions being slaughtered, his people living in fear, and his descendants being enslaved and never able to turn over. The king's relics must be found. No matter how much it costs, we must find them. He was very determined. The hunched figure bowed respectfully. He seldom admired people, but the city lord in front of him was someone he admired and respected from the bottom of his heart, and he was extremely loyal. The one just now. The hunched figure spoke. He killed foreign monsters like this, which is a good thing for us. He might be a member of a tribe that hates foreign monsters very much. He came to me, perhaps because he thought I might be a foreign monster. The city lord of Monkey King City shook his head. He guessed very accurately. But he is too reckless to kill like this. It is easy for foreign monsters to target him. If possible, find a way to help him. The city lord smiled, and then he waved his hand casually. A figure was drawn on a blank piece of paper on the table. The figure was Sudang. The city lord of Monkey King City handed the paper to the hunched figure behind him. Send this portrait to the Shenshin hunting group and inform them to help if you can. Yes. The hunched figure retreated. The city lord of Monkey King City looked outside the hall. Mysterious guy, I admire you. You did what I wanted to do but couldn't do. Kill these foreign monsters. The more you kill, the better. This book was recently updated in #at. Update. He hated foreign monsters. For hundreds of thousands of years, his relatives died at the hands of foreign monsters. He worked hard to practice and worshipped in the sacred mountain. He had long vowed to expel all foreign monsters from his world one day. For this goal, he was willing to die. Born as a human, to protect the country. This is his will, and it is also his belief, in embarking on the ultimate path and forever casting the ultimate king body. Night. Sudong flew out of the city lord's mansion silently, with doubts and surprise in his eyes. In the city lord's mansion earlier, I felt that the city lord seemed to have discovered me, and there was a strong man hiding in a corner of the palace. The hidden strong man is not important. The city lord has a familiar aura on him, which is the aura of the origin blood. The origin blood is in the hands of the 2 holy places and the 10 sacred mountains. The strong who absorb the origin blood embark on the ultimate road. Each king body is good at different aspects. My eternal king body is better at vitality and blood, and the fusion and evolution of the origin blood also tends to vitality. He can find me. Is he good at investigation? Sudong shook his head. I don't know if he has extra origin blood. But even if he did, Sudong didn't think of snatching it. The city lord has a strong momentum and great merit. He has no intention of hostility. The origin blood will be found again. The only pity is that we still don't know who the true master of the purgatory life is. What is the purpose of summoning so many purgatory lives to the Monkey King City? It's enough to kill for one night. Go and refine these purgatory auras and see what good treasures they have. Sudong smiled and flew straight back to his residence. When Sudong happily flew to his residence, 100 meters underground, 100 miles away from the ruins of the Poppy Fire Mansion, there is a wide and luxurious underground palace. In the underground palace, a tall purgatory life with a long dragon tail on his back and covered with flaming red armor is sitting on the throne of the palace. His eyes are dark, deep and terrifying. In the underground palace, there are purgatory lives of various shapes, all of which are high-level purgatory lives. I really want to know who is cleaning the slaughter and opposing us. The eyes on the throne burst into a magic light, which is like the 9 nether purgatory. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 533 The Lord of Purgatory is coming. None of the many high-level purgatory beings in the underground palace dared to look directly at it, and all stood respectfully. These purgatory beings who came to the two-world galaxy have special means of communication. Although only a few can communicate in real time, many purgatory beings act together, and their life marks are in the hands of this true master. Just like the death of Aluo Shubeo of the Cold Blood sect, the purgatory beings knew it at the first time. And now, as Sudong slaughtered all the purgatory beings who took over the bodies of the Monkey King City overnight, it also caused a result. This true master, including many high-level purgatory beings, found that the purgatory beings under their command were sharply reduced overnight, and their life marks disappeared, including many high-level purgatory beings. The purgatory true lord was shocked and angry. The true lord, in the purgatory realm, has a much higher status than the high-level purgatory beings, and is extremely respected, and has a higher status than any purgatory being present. We went through so much trouble to seize bodies, and enter the void of the two worlds galaxy, for the remains left by the purgatory sages and the king's ruins. The Lord of Purgatory Life looked down and said coldly, "We have just gathered, and haven't started yet, and most of the seized bodies have died. Without the seized lives, they are equivalent to having no eyes and ears in the void of the two worlds galaxy. Of course, they need spies to explore a lot of information. Now that the seized lives are so badly damaged, how can he not be angry? Many higher level purgatory lives looked at each other, and finally, a tall and burly higher level educational life came out, with a colorful horn on his head. He bowed respectfully and said, "Report to the Lord." According to the information sent back by Qiu Meng, when he was dying, it was a local life that took action, and he was good at swordsmanship. He couldn't stand the sword and died. A local life again. The Lord of Purgatory life frowned slightly. When Sudan killed the high-level Purgatory life fish demon in the Yanshihuo mansion, the true Lord had used the Purgatory method to scold him, but he was afraid of the Shenshin hunting group at the time, and did not show up. Now this native life is so rampant. Although it is just a local life, it can kill the fish demon, so its strength is extraordinary. A Purgatory life, that looks like a crab said. Impossible, that local life made such a big noise, just to kill a fish demon. How could it kill the 9 eyes and the black demon quietly? Immediately, a higher level Purgatory life widened his eyes to express his objection. You mean, there are others who hunt our Purgatory people? The Void Temple? The Yellow Spring Deo Mansion? Or the Eternal Buddha Realm? Many higher level Purgatory life argued and discussed. The Purgatory true Lord at the top closed his eyes. This mysterious murderer slaughtered many of his subordinates overnight. He must be killed to relieve his hatred. Black Demon. I once gave Black Demon a small piece of demon bone. This demon bone is a treasure. Black Demon is dead, and this treasure should be taken away by the murderer. Although he gave it to his subordinates, he had selfish motives, and left a mark on this piece of demon bone. At this moment, he sensed it slightly. If it was in the endless void, he could sense it, even if the distance was far away. But at this moment, in the void where the 2 worlds of galaxies were destroyed, the rules of the void were disordered, and the sensing distance was very short, not even more than 10,000 miles. It only hoped that the murderer would take the piece of demon bone away, and within 10,000 miles. But the faint magic pattern rippled out from the underground palace, with the underground palace as the center, and explored everywhere, streets, and mansions. Finally, the Lord of Purgatory suddenly opened his eyes wide. The dark eyes like the 9 netherworlds flashed with cold light. Found it. Whoosh. Under the gaze of many high-level Purgatory creatures, the Lord instantly turned into a red light, and disappeared in the underground palace. The red light was extremely fast, even traveling underground. It was faster than the speed of light, and it appeared on the clouds in the blink of an eye. A native life dared to assassinate my noble Purgatory clan. He was looking for death. The Lord of Purgatory looked down, and there was a pavilion below the clouds. The demon boner he sensed was in this pavilion. He was full of murderous intent. You like assassination? Then I will assassinate you too. Can you kill high-level clan members? You think you are very strong? Humph. It's a pity that you can't stop me. The Lord of Purgatory sneered. A dragon's tail floated slowly in the air. As the Lord of Purgatory, ordinary high-level Purgatory life is just an ant in his eyes. Swish. The Lord of Purgatory instantly turned into a residual image and rushed down. He wished to torture this mysterious murderer for hundreds of years to relieve his hatred, but this was the 2-world galaxy, and it was in the Monkey King city. If there was a big noise, it could alert the city lord's mansion and the Shenshin hunting group at any time. The Lord of Monkey King City was at the Super City Lord level. The Shenshin hunting group has even more powerful people who can rival him. So, it is best to kill him directly. The afterimage of the Lord of Purgatory directly shuttled into the pavilion. Inside the pavilion. This book has been updated recently in Update. Sudan was absorbing the breath of Purgatory while counting the treasures. In this night of slaughter, in addition to the piece of bones, the Purgatory materials also obtained 4 low-level Purgatory materials and 1 high-level Purgatory material. Collect more Purgatory materials and give them to the Lord of Slaughter to refine the Purgatory artifact. Sudan is still looking forward to an artifact. You know, even the most ordinary artifact can increase the power significantly. Of course, according to the task of the Lord of Slaughter, this Purgatory artifact should be extraordinary. At least Sudan has never seen a Purgatory artifact in the Divine Weapon Hall. This kind of artifact may not be sold to the outside world. Sudan now has 5 artifacts. It can only be regarded as the most ordinary artifact. Only the Sky God sword is very suitable for his own Chyan Waitian sword method. Sudang can only say that he is temporarily satisfied. In the future, as his strength improves, the quality of the artifact will naturally improve. The purgatory artifact is easy to plan for the time being. All he has to do is to collect purgatory materials. When a certain amount is reached, he can go to the slaughter prison Overlord King to refine it. In addition to purgatory materials, purgatory aura is also a treasure. After Sudang tried that the higher level purgatory aura had no temptation to Dantian mobile phone, he directly chose a wisp to strengthen his innate understanding. All the remaining purgatory auras chose to strengthen the soul and divine thoughts. After super evolution, his divine body can already be comparable to high level purgatory life. Purgatory aura has no strengthening effect at all. Only the soul. The stronger the soul, the wider the coverage of the divine thoughts. The high-level purgatory aura is indeed extraordinary. Before it was strengthened, the range of my soul and divine thoughts was only a dozen feet around. After strengthening, it directly reached 100 feet. Within 100 feet, everything is extremely clear in my mind. If I can do this in the void of the two worlds, I will naturally be stronger in the void of the outside world. In the void, it is very difficult to improve the soul. Sudang has been supplied with soul fruit, so his improvement is rapid. Tuoshi's physical body is at the level of God King, and his soul level is infinitely close to the Holy Spirit Void Ancestor. Soul breakthrough. Divine thoughts cover 100 feet around. Sudang's powerful divine thoughts spread out. Suddenly, his face changed. The divine thoughts he just broke through covered 100 feet, and on the clouds 100 feet high in the sky, a terrible demon shadow rushed down instantly, with an astonishing speed. Purgatory life. Sudang was shocked. There was actually a purgatory life coming to the door, and the demon light was surging, and the murderous intent was boiling. Let's go. Whoosh. Sudang directly turned into a black and white light, and rushed out of the room, suspended in the night sky. Puff. He just left. The whole pavilion was like a bubble, and turned into dust in an instant, and the rest of the lives living in it all turned into ashes. The first chapter is already late. Can the second chapter not be late? Chapter 534, Outbreak. Sudang fights the Lord of Purgatory. Sudang used the Xian Luo Wang Xiang body movement to fly out of the entire building in the blink of an eye. Then he turned around and saw the building that had turned directly into ashes, and his eyes suddenly became even colder. Blood mist was floating in the ruins, and it was a mess. Looking up again, he saw a tall demon shadow still flying. The demon shadow exuded a terrifying demon light. The demon light reflected a circle of dark demon patterns in the space. You run fast. The Lord of Purgatory took a look and was surprised. He couldn't help but snorted coldly. He wanted to assassinate the mysterious murderer directly, but he didn't expect that the latter would dodge in advance. When you attacked the fish demon before, I should have killed you and let you escape. How dare you show up? The Lord of Purgatory was high above. Today is your death. Just you? Sudang's face was extremely cold. As he spoke, he wiped his palm behind his back, and the bright sword light lit up in the night. The sky-high sword light was accompanied by the sword being drawn and swung out. The blade shone brightly, wanting to chop the demon shadow in front of him to death with one blow. You still dare to fight me? The demon shadow laughed strangely. Then the demon shadow flashed. The terrifying dragon tail behind it was shining with demonic light, and it slammed on Sudang's blade light with a bang, smashing the blade light directly into pieces. A tail shattered my blade light. Sudang was slightly shocked. You know, with his current divine body power, plus the sky divine sword, even a blade light swung out with a sword is enough to kill ordinary purgatory life. The demon shadow in front of him was shattered with one tail. The power is so terrible, and it can reach him, and still wants to assassinate him. This strength. Are you the Lord of Purgatory? Sudang's eyes lit up, and he stared coldly at the demon shadow in front of him, and said in a low voice, a dead man doesn't need to know so much. The Lord of Purgatory snorted coldly. He was extremely confident that he could easily kill the life in front of him. As the Lord of Purgatory, it would be a joke if he couldn't kill a local life with thunder. Die obediently. With a cold snort, the Lord of Purgatory waved his hand without hesitation. Suddenly, the entire night sky was completely enveloped by a terrifying magic light. In the magic light, Terrifying claw shadows instantly appeared, swishing and swishing, trying to tear Sudong apart. Ultimate mode. Activate. Boom. Sudong immediately displayed his strongest state, and a vast energy like a volcanic eruption instantly filled his body. The violent blood energy glow illuminated the entire night sky like a raging sea. On one side was the completely dark and terrifying magic light. On the other side was the blood energy glow that reflected the clouds of fire, rumbling. The blood energy glow collided with the terrifying magic light, as if the world was collapsing, and instantly shook the entire Monkey King city. The Lord of Purgatory looked at Sudong, who instantly turned into a man of light in front of him, and the blood energy glow that illuminated the entire sky. What kind of method is this? He couldn't help but feel surprised. He originally thought that he could wave his hand to crush this native life like an ant, but he didn't expect that the latter's strength was much higher than he expected. No wonder he can kill Nine Eyes and Black Demon. He is indeed quite powerful. I wanted to assassinate you, but since you are already alarmed, I will kill you in 2 or 3 moves. The Lord of Purgatory snorted coldly. He clenched his hand, and suddenly a huge blade appeared in his palm. The huge blade imitated purple magic patterns, and as soon as it appeared, it was swung towards Sudong from a distance. But a huge purple magic light blade arc suddenly appeared out of thin air, and the next moment, the magic light blade arc suddenly disappeared. That was because the speed was too fast for the naked eye to detect. Sudong's pupils shrank slightly, and he could only see the air in front of him twisted. There was a faint purple knife light passing by. Can't stop it. Sudong instantly displayed the Xian Luo Wang Xiang body method. Black and white light flashed. Boom. The space he was originally in exploded directly, and a large area of the building was instantly destroyed into pieces. Even the blood and aura on his body were torn apart and defeated. What? Sudong was extremely shocked. This sword technique, is it so powerful? And aren't you good at sword techniques? What? You can only dodge and can't you? The Lord of Purgatory sneered and swung the giant blade in his hand again. This time it was faster. In just a flash, the terrifying purple magic light blade arc floated towards Sudong. Purple magic energy rose in the magic light blade arc. The power was ridiculous. Sudong was shocked. This was the first time he saw a purgatory life with such a terrible sword technique. In the past, few purgatory lives he had seen had such a strong method. As expected of the Lord of Purgatory, his sword technique was so strong. However, although he was shocked in his heart, Sudong did not hesitate to swing his strongest sword. Ultimate mode, the 8th level of Xian Weishan sword technique. At this moment, he didn't care about covering up. A pair of sharp blade wings appeared behind him, and the blade wings were golden. Endless golden blade light suddenly floated up, covering his entire body, and the Dharma body of the King of 10,000 Swords appeared. Boom. The sky sword was swung out. The destruction domain was revealed. Wherever the sword light was shrouded, pieces of the mystery of death were reflected, and the entire space was collapsing and destroying. A scene of great destruction. Bang, bang, bang. The destruction domain collided with the magic light sword arc. In the collision, a sword light flew out. This sword light was dazzling golden, like a crescent moon, that instantly passed through the void. Wherever it passed, the entire night sky was lit up with golden light. The arc of the golden light was heart-shaking. What? My magic blade was suppressed? The Lord of Purgatory was a little surprised, and then he saw Sudong in front of him with sharp blade wings emerging behind him. This book was recently updated in #@. Update. His eyes widened instantly. The King of 10,000 Swords? Die. Sudong's eyes flashed with a sharp light. His strongest sword in the ultimate mode, the power amplification was maximized. The Xian Weishan sword method and Tangshan were many times more mysterious than the magic light sword arc of the Lord of Purgatory. The power was also stronger. Boom. The golden blade light directly hit the purple giant blade that the Lord of Purgatory waved to block. The power exploded. The dazzling blade light flew backwards, and the Lord of Purgatory holding the giant blade also retreated several meters before stopping. The King of 10,000 Blades, the heavenly sword technique. What native life? This is a void life taking over. How can it be so strong? The Lord of Purgatory was stunned. If he is so strong after taking over, How strong must he be before taking over? It can't be the Holy Spirit Void Ancestor. The Holy Spirit Void Ancestor has a unity of spirit and flesh, and it is impossible to take over. The Holy Spirit Road is not their purgatory life. Their purgatory life itself is a wisp of demonic energy, and it is difficult to die. But the Holy Spirit Void Ancestor transcends the 6 reincarnations, has an eternal life, and his soul and body are united. It is impossible to separate them, let alone take over. Is the level of the Divine Emperor so strong? Genius. This is a genius in the void. No matter which of the 3 major forces he comes from, killing him is a great achievement. The Lord of Purgatory was excited. He struggled with the void life for a long time. Killing the genius of the void is what they have been doing. Killing such a genius is a great achievement. Kill. At this moment, the Lord of Purgatory exploded. Boom. The purple magic pattern giant blade was swung again, and the terrifying magic light blade arc appeared again. This time it was several times more powerful than before, and the power was even more powerful. Even the entire sky was torn apart wherever it passed, and the void earth was twisted layer by layer. It seemed to be about to collapse at any time. Not good. My ultimate mode can only burst out 3 full strength attacks within 24 hours. After a night of killing, my ultimate mode state has been exhausted. Just now was the last blow. Sudang's face changed. This Lord of Purgatory is at least at the level of the 5-crown Shuriken. With the ultimate mode, he can fight. Without the ultimate mode, he can only be crushed in an instant. Temporarily avoid the edge. Sudang did not hesitate, and 2 black and gold divine power lights were wrapped around his belt. Chai-en-hua. The acceleration effect of this belt artifact was instantly activated. Chapter 535. The City Lord is here. When the battle broke out in the Monkey King City, the magic light of the Purgatory Lord and the blood key rosy light of Sudang collided, and the noise was so loud that it instantly alarmed the entire Monkey King City. It could be felt from a distance of thousands of miles, and the City Lord's mansion reacted instantly. Such a big noise. Is it an outsider killing people? The City Lord of the Monkey King City burst out with bloody energy, and personally led a large number of soldiers from the City Lord's mansion to rush out. At the same time, another team also rushed out. Everyone in this team was wearing golden armor and exuding a murderous aura. They were members of the Shenshin hunting group. Even more shocked were the void creatures hiding in the dark and even those high-level purgatory creatures. The Lord killed a local life, and it made such a big noise. The high-level purgatory creatures came out one by one and took a look from a distance. Even at a long distance, they could see the battle scene clearly at a glance, and their faces suddenly changed. A local life is so strong that it can compete with the Lord? Well, that native life is at a disadvantage. Look at him. Is he going to escape? Haha, ridiculous. An enemy targeted by the true Lord still wants to escape. They all watched from afar, but did not go over to help. Many members of the God Mountain hunting group were on their way. If they went over, they would not only be unable to help, but would only expose themselves. Outside the Monkey King City, in a mountain forest, the blue-clothed goddess stood in the clouds with great charm, looking at the battle in the city from afar. She was completely shocked. The magic light that covered the sky, the blood and energy that soared into the sky, and the sword light seemed to cut through the sky and the earth. The power of the sword light was terrifying, and the demonic energy around the true Lord of Purgatory was surging, and he clearly had the upper hand. What a terrible purgatory life. I have always guessed that the purgatory life has a big plan, but it actually hides such a terrible purgatory life. It must have the strength of a 5-realm palace master. The blue-clothed goddess was shocked. Such a terrible purgatory life actually lurked on the Island of Kings? Once they encountered it, it would be their nightmare. But the bloody native life was also terrifying. How could it fight with such a powerful purgatory life to such an extent? The distance was too far. She could only see the vague battle scene and fluctuations, and the specific situation could not be observed carefully. Above the Monkey King City, die. The Lord of Purgatory swung the magic blade, and the violent blade light was extremely fast, tearing the airspace, invisible to the naked eye. Only a flash of purple light could be seen in front of Sudang. Retreat, retreat. Sudang's face changed slightly, and the acceleration power of the Chai-en-hua belt was fully erupted. In an instant, the black and gold divine power light wrapped around the waist and the speed increased tenfold. In an instant, it turned into a stream of light, accelerating. However, although Sudong had the acceleration of the Xianhua belt, the limit speed would be extremely amazing, but acceleration also takes time. The higher the speed, the more difficult it is. The surrounding space resistance and the magic light of the Lord of Purgatory are all factors that will affect it. Therefore, Sudong instantly activated the acceleration of the Xianhua belt, and his speed was only 1/3. Compared with the limit speed, it is more than half. At this speed, the Lord of Purgatory could easily catch up. Want to escape? Die. The demonic shadow of the Lord of Purgatory was surging, and the demonic blade chopped down instantly. Stop it. Stop it. Sudong gritted his teeth. The power of the Divine King burst to the limit, the indestructible golden body protected his body, and the mark of the Shura King emerged from his brow. The vast divine power merged with the perfect energy of the king's power, and gathered to resist the slashing demonic blade, but just after the collision, Sudong felt that his entire divine body was in great pain in an instant. His divine body seemed to be about to explode. Boom. The power exploded in Sudong's chest. This terrible power was weakened by the frost robe, and it was only weakened by about 20%. After being resisted by the indestructible golden body, 20% was blocked, and 60% of the power was left. It easily cut Sudong's divine body. The magic power contained in this knife was too strong. But then the rich and vast vitality contained in Sudong's blood burst out, and the injury that was directly cut was instantly healed. But Sudong's face turned a lot paler. The Lord of Purgatory also had a slightly changed expression. He slashed Sudong's divine body with a magic blade, which could have torn Sudong's divine body apart, but the latter actually withstood it. Another blow. I don't believe you can still withstand it. Boom. The magic blade slashed at the 10,000 Swords King Dharma body on Sudong's body again. As if struck by thunder, this terrible blow caused the 10,000 Swords King Dharma body on Sudong's body to collapse directly, and the frost robe was torn and damaged. The defense of the artifact also has a limit. If it exceeds this limit, it will be damaged. However, as long as it absorbs special substances, it can be restored again. 2 layers of defense were broken in succession. The immortal golden body was instantly pierced like a piece of paper in front of this magic blade. Sudong was slashed away. Puff. The divine body almost exploded in the air, and the divine blood sprayed. Dyed the street red. I can hold it. Sudong felt that the vitality in his body was quickly repairing the divine body, and immediately used the power of this blow to bless the Xianhua belt to accelerate. King Shura. The Lord of Purgatory roared. He saw the mark of King Shura in Sudong Mo's heart, and immediately understood Sudong's background. Boom. The surging magic light surged, and the dragon tail behind him suddenly swelled. The dragon tail, which extended to dozens of meters, directly whipped Sudong, as if to blow Sudong up. Swish. In the blink of an eye, Sudong's speed has been increased to the extreme. A black and white light appeared in the air and immediately soared into the sky, flying into the high altitude clouds, and then quickly flew towards the outside of Monkey King City, and instantly disappeared under the sky. Escaped. What a fast speed. In Monkey King City, the people watching this battle all widened their eyes, and many purgatory creatures were even more stunned. They heard the roar of the Lord. King Shura. That figure is King Shura. How can King Shura be surrounded by such a strong blood energy? Did he take over another body? He is still so strong. After taking over another body, how strong would he be without taking over another body? This book has been updated recently in #@. Update. The members of the Shenshin hunting group are here. Damn it, why don't they catch King Shura and go directly to the Lord? The members of the Shenshin hunting group arrived in the sky above the Monkey King City. Kill this foreign monster. Kill. Without any extra words, the members of the Shenshin hunting group attacked instantly. Arsehole. The Lord of Purgatory had a ferocious expression, and the magic light surged. His eyes burst with bloodthirsty light and murderous aura. I'm not interested in you. Get out. Kill. The members of the Shenshin hunting group took action directly, and the blood energy of the king's power system was shaking. They were all strong people who had unlocked the power of the 10 kings and mastered the laws of the king. Boom. The Lord of Purgatory waved the magic blade in his hand angrily, and the magic blade crossed the sky and hit the team of the Shenshin hunting group. Suddenly, terrible magic energy exploded, and the magic light raged from the magic blade, and exploded directly in a fan-shaped explosion. Suddenly, the streets of this half of the city were completely shattered. Many civilians, guards, and even several members of the Shenshin hunting group were cut in half and strangled in an instant. For a time, the entire block within a few thousand meters was turned into a ruin, and screams and shouts were chaotic. Beast. Die. A violent shout suddenly came from the distance, and a soaring golden sword rushed from the night sky. The soaring sword light carried the power of thunder, and pierced the sky angrily. The Lord of Purgatory turned around suddenly, his expression was ferocious, and the magic light violently swung the magic blade. Puff. But the golden sword was too fast and directly penetrated his chest. With a bang, it nailed his demon body to the ground, and the whole ground burst into blood. The Lord of Purgatory looked at the figure flying in the sky. The latter was emitting blood and aura, and was full of murderous intent. It was the Lord of Monkey King City. Demon, today is the day you die. The Lord of Monkey King City roared, and a golden sword was suspended behind him, with blood and aura wrapped around it. The members of the Shenshin hunting group and the mortals of Monkey King City who saw this scene were all surprised. The Lord of the city is here, and he is here to kill the monster. Chapter 536, Mysterious Genius, Evil Lord. Monkey King City Lord. Purgatory Lord was nailed to the street by a sword, with surprise in his eyes. In the past, he underestimated the Monkey King City Lord. He was so strong, which was seriously inconsistent with the intelligence he had obtained in the past. But although he is strong, he can't kill me. Purgatory Lord roared. A gust of black wind blew, and Purgatory Lord's body disappeared directly from the ground. Then he appeared 100 meters away. Demon. The Monkey King City Lord raised his finger, and the golden sword behind him shot out again. The golden sword disappeared instantly, as if it had teleported, and reappeared in front of Purgatory Lord. With a puff, the golden sword pierced Purgatory Lord's demonic body again. Demonic energy danced wildly. This scene excited all the local life in Monkey King City. The City Lord is so powerful. The demon is no match for the City Lord at all. And the Purgatory life and many lives hidden in the dark, including the blue-clothed goddess who sneaked over and always used cold methods against local life, all felt a chill in their hearts. Is this the strength of the Lord of the Monkey King City? The Purgatory life is being suppressed? At this moment, all the lives with bad intentions trembled in their hearts, and everyone was stunned by the strength of the Lord of the Monkey King City. This Lord of the Monkey King City, so strong? The Lord of the Purgatory roared, and was pierced by the golden sword again. He was extremely angry. He was bound to kill the mysterious murderer tonight, but he didn't expect that the mysterious murderer was not killed, and he became the target of the Lord of the Monkey King City. Exposed. He was originally arranged to wait for the opening of the king's relics before taking action, but now he was exposed in advance. Once exposed, he could not stay in the Monkey King City. Boom. The magic light was overwhelming. The Lord of the Purgatory glanced at the back, and the blood and energy around the Lord of the Monkey King City turned into rainbow light. The rainbow light covered the night, like a sun illuminating the entire city. At the same time, from the direction of Shianayu City, blood and energy rays appeared in other directions, and the blood and energy rays were shining. That was a stronger person coming quickly. Each one of them is as good as the Lord of Monkey King City. Forget it. Let's not think about the remains of the king for now. As long as I can kill the Shuriken, it will be enough to make up for my mistake. The Lord of Purgatory looked at the two holes on the demon body. He originally wanted to kill an ant tonight, but it came to this. Shuriken. The Lord of Purgatory gritted his teeth, and he swore to grind the Shuriken to ashes. Boom. Another golden sword shot out. The Lord of Monkey King City stood in the sky above Monkey King City, like a god of war guarding his city. The Lord of Purgatory was already a little afraid of this golden sword. The magic light surged. This time the Shuriken is a surprise, and the exposure of the strength of the Lord of Monkey King City is also a great gain. To deal with the Lord of Monkey King City, we must send a more powerful lord. Puff. This time the distance was farther, and the Lord of Purgatory was still pierced, let out a roar, and then instantly turned into black light and disappeared. The Lord of Monkey King City narrowed his eyes, flashing with cold light. I took 3 swords from you, but you still didn't die after 3 swords. It seems that you are a monster of different species. There are 2 kinds of foreign monsters. One kind is a monster with a different cultivation system from them, called a monster with divine power. Although this kind of monster also likes killing, it is high above and looks like a god. There is another kind, which they call a different species. Not only do they like killing, they also like to devour. They are extremely cruel and difficult to kill. This monster should be a monster of different species. This monster of different species is very powerful. That little guy is targeted by him. I'm afraid he will be in trouble. The Lord of Monkey King City just found out how many monsters Sudang had slaughtered. He almost directly cleaned up all the monsters who took over the bodies in the problematic native life. This is a great achievement, and it must be reported to the God Mountain. How come I have never heard of his strength before? The Lord of Monkey King City was still worried about Sudang. He naturally had to help this younger generation more. On this night, the whole Monkey King City was doomed to be shaken. Overnight, a large number of geniuses who gathered at the Island of Kings were assassinated. Although they were assassinated, these geniuses were finally confirmed by the God Mountain to be related to alien demons. They were suspected of being possessed. Now they are being purged. Such a large-scale possession. Purging, you must know that these geniuses are involved in many forces outside the Island of Kings. They were purged so inexplicably, so naturally they were suspected. No matter how big the 2 worlds galaxy is, it is under the supervision of the 10 great gods and the 2 holy lands. Especially the 10 great gods. The transmission of news in the 2 worlds galaxy is extremely fast. In less than 2 days, it spread throughout the entire 2 worlds galaxy. Demons gathered at the Island of Kings. The Island of Kings is under ban. So many demons entered it. The local life spread widely, and the void life mixed in the 2 worlds galaxy naturally got the news. Of course, the forces where the Yellow Spring Deo Mansion is located also got the news. The Island of Kings? Which area is it in? 6 Tiger Shuriken investigated. This area is not the area that Sudang entered. I heard that many purgatory beings were assassinated. Wasn't he the one who did it? 6 Tiger Shuriken blinked, but then shook his head. Sudang's strength was just enough to pass the 3rd floor of the Purgatory Tower. He could deal with ordinary purgatory beings, but it was impossible to assassinate so many purgatory beings. This book was recently updated in #@. Update. Not to mention, it also includes high-level purgatory beings. And the Battle of Monkey King City also spread. The strength of the Lord of Monkey King City is against the sky. There is also a mysterious strong man who is assassinating purgatory beings. This mysterious strong man is extraordinary and extremely young. It is said that he may be a hidden genius cultivated by the 2 holy places to experience the world. Mysterious genius, responsible for cleaning up the monsters mixed in our world, extremely powerful. And it is said that he was seriously injured by a powerful monster but not dead, suspected to have the foundation of the ultimate king body. I admire you. Through the deliberate publicity of Shenshin, the reputation of Sudang, the mysterious strong man, skyrocketed. There was no other way. Shenshin needed to mobilize the fighting enthusiasm of the native beings of the 2 worlds. Naturally, it was necessary to establish a spiritual idol. The 2 sacred mountains even publicly granted titles. The mysterious genius strongman was awarded the title of Hunter for his meritorious service in hunting monsters. Hunter is a title for strongman higher than the city lord level. Report. I want to report that the mysterious strongman is not a local life at all, but the Shuriken. The Lord of Purgatory reported to Purgatory immediately. Not only is he the Shuriken, but he is also suspected of taking over the body of a local life, and can practice the local cultivation system. His own level should be the level of the God Emperor and the Immortal Emperor, and he can have the strength of the Lord. This news spread to Purgatory. Purgatory was shocked. The genius Shuriken of Huan Kundeofu, and so strong, must be killed. Only 2 days have passed. On the Island of Kings, a wasteland thousands of miles away from the Monkey King City, the Lord of Purgatory and many high-level purgatory lives gathered here. The Lord of Purgatory was like a demon head exuding a terrifying aura. Nink, Purgatory has sent the evil to meet you and bring the magic weapon, the Purgatory magic lamp, and must kill the Shuriken in one fell swoop. The Purgatory Lord Nink, who had a dragon tail behind him, received the message. In less than a day, a dark magic light instantly descended in the wasteland. A tall demon shadow covered with rock-like bone armor walked out of the magic light. A bloody mouth was cracked on its chest, and the sharp teeth in the bloody mouth were biting the squirming flesh. Greetings to the evil lord. A group of high-level purgatory creatures saluted. Yes, Nink, I brought the Purgatory magic lamp and must kill the Shuriken in one fell swoop. After killing him, I will take 70% of the credit and you will take 30%. Do you have any objections? The evil lord looked at the Nink lord coldly. 3 credits? Hearing this assignment, the Nink lord was about to go berserk on the spot, but when he saw the terrifying big mouth of the evil lord, he swallowed his anger. The evil lord, that is a lord whose power far exceeds his, and the evil lord is also greedy. Not only does he like to eat other creatures, he also eats the creatures of purgatory, occasionally eating an arm or a leg. That's a common thing. Ninka didn't dare to disobey at all, and nodded immediately. Everything is up to the evil lord. Chapter 537, Pursuit and Discovery. Very good. The evil master nodded with satisfaction, and the bloody smell emanating from his body rippled slightly. The mouth on his face and the bloody mouth on his chest showed a smile, but that smile made people feel extremely horrified. Do you know the whereabouts of the Shuriken now? The evil master said. Yes, always know. The evil master smiled and waved his hand. A large amount of magic light suddenly gathered in front of him, and a light spot gathered in the magic light. This Shuriken has my mark on him. As long as he is within 10,000 miles, I can find him at any time. But in order to prevent alerting the enemy, I have not chased him for the past 2 days, so that he can relax his vigilance and wait for the evil master to arrive and kill him in one fell swoop. The evil master sneered. As long as Sudang did not throw away the piece of bones, his whereabouts would be exposed anytime and anywhere. Sudang could not have thought that a piece of purgatory material would actually have the mark of the Purgatory Master. However, the Shuriken escapes very fast, and his maximum speed even exceeds you and me. Once he escapes to the Monkey King city, or notifies Huangquandeofu, we will have no chance. Actually, it's okay to notify Huangquandeofu. After all, it's here. Huangquandeofu's power is limited. The most feared thing is that Sudang and the local forces of the 2 worlds will merge, which will be bad. No matter how strong the 2 purgatory lords are, they dare not collide with the huge forces of the 2 worlds. Good at escaping at speed? The evil lord frowned. Then he sneered, and the mouth on his chest bit his flesh and blood fiercely. Don't worry, I have the Purgatory magic lamp in my hand. The magic lamp covers 10 miles. Within 10 miles, he can't escape. An oil lamp flickering with dark purple magic fire appeared in the big hand of the evil lord. Once it appeared, clusters of dark purple magic fire jumped in the surrounding space. Seeing those magic fires, the surrounding high-level purgatory life forms showed fear. And the evil lord looked at the Purgatory magic lamp with greed and envy, and then nodded. Well, we must kill the Shuriken in one fell swoop. The Shuriken should be proud of dying under the magic lamp of Purgatory. The evil lord looked at the light spot in the magic light. His face was extremely ferocious. Let's go. A group of purgatory creatures, led by the 2 purgatory lords, quickly approached Sudang, intending to kill him in one fell swoop. Just 7,000 miles away from them, they came out of a deep canyon. The deep canyon was 100 feet deep. In a hidden cave on a cliff, Sudang was sitting cross-legged, with blood and energy surging around him. The cave was filled with rosy clouds, absorbing the unique blood and energy between heaven and earth. Sudang deliberately mobilized the blood and energy to gather on the sacred tree in his Dantian, and then spread it around his body. Waves of numbness spread, and abundant vitality flowed in his divine body. After a while, Sudang stopped. After fusing and evolving, that drop of life source blood, combined with the Eternal King body, the recovery effect is too good. Sudang showed a smile on his face, moving his body, not only fully recovered, but also felt that after a fight, his divine body was much stronger. After I merged and evolved the root blood, although the vitality of the divine body has been strengthened a lot, the potential of the root blood is too great, and a lot of it is hidden in my divine body. A big battle threatened my life, and also burst out the potential. Just like there will be great enlightenment between life and death, when encountering a life crisis, the divine body will naturally burst out the potential, just like the former divine unicorn gene. Now gathered in every cell of his divine body is a higher grade of root blood, with greater potential and limit burst. Naturally, the recovery ability is stronger. The power of the Purgatory Lord is extraordinary, and the Lord of Monkey King City is even more powerful. They all have the power of the 5-crown Shuriken. I don't know if the Lord of Monkey King City has killed the Purgatory Lord. Sudang fled at a very fast speed, but at the end he felt the arrival of the Lord of Monkey King City, and his terrifying power burst out. But he was not a native life after all. Once exposed, his fate would be similar to that of the Lord of Purgatory, so he quickly retreated without stopping. Sudang took out many treasure materials from his storage bag, and then slowly refined the treasure energy in these materials. Integrate them into the frost robe he was wearing. The frost robe was his defensive artifact. It was able to withstand the two swords of the Lord of Purgatory. The frost robe played an indispensable role, so it was natural to repair it well. While repairing the frost robe, Sudang thought, with a cold look on his face, my swordsmanship is only one step away. As long as I can comprehend the 8th level of the heavenly swordsmanship, the origin of the way of death will be further improved. With the burst of the ultimate mode, I can completely crush the Purgatory Lord. The Purgatory Lord is as powerful as the 5-crown Azure King. I was careless before. I thought this lord was only at the level of a high-level Purgatory life. This Purgatory Lord came directly to my door. There should be many Purgatory lives around him. Next time I meet him, I must teach him a lesson. Huh? No. Sudang's face suddenly changed, and even the action of refining the treasure materials stopped. Come to my door? How did the Purgatory Lord find me, and come to my door again? Do I have something on me that he can locate? Sudang instantly recalled the various gains from the previous night of killing. The more he thought about it, the more scared he became. He turned it over directly, and found a lot of miscellaneous items, including the piece of white bone Purgatory material. But the strong soul covered all the materials. A flip of the induction. How strong is his core data, will and consciousness? There are 13 with special fluctuations, 12 are heavenly treasures, and 1 is a Purgatory material. This Purgatory bone. Sudang took the Purgatory bone in his hand. The aura of the Purgatory material of the Purgatory bone itself was very strange, without the slightest fluctuation, but it contained a very faint fluctuation, similar to the mark fluctuation. Sudang understood immediately. This book was recently updated in #@. Update. It was this Purgatory bone that exposed his whereabouts. Holding the Purgatory bone in his hand, Sudang's face was cold. Many thoughts turned in an instant. Since you know my whereabouts, it is impossible for me to escape, but you haven't chased me for the past 2 days. What are you waiting for? Was I killed by the Lord of Monkey King City? Sudang shook his head. With the tenacious vitality of the Purgatory life, the possibility of being killed by the Lord of Monkey King City was extremely low. There was only one possibility, that no one came to chase him for the past 2 days. If I were to hunt down an enemy and know his whereabouts, I would definitely kill him in one fell swoop after I was absolutely sure of his whereabouts. From the previous battle between him and the Lord of Purgatory, he could not kill the Lord of Purgatory, but the Lord of Purgatory was not easy to kill him. He must be sure of victory before making a thunderous move. This is the typical mentality of a hunter. 2 days is enough for him to do a lot of things. The biggest possibility is to wait for reinforcement. There must be a new Lord of Purgatory coming, and he is confident that he can kill my Lord of Purgatory in an instant. Sudang stood up immediately. It is not advisable to stay here for a long time, not even a moment longer. The mark on this Purgatory material must be erased. Sudang pinched the bones of the Purgatory material. The Purgatory material can be used to refine the Purgatory artifact, so it is naturally very tough. Sudang's divine power burst could not damage it at all. But after all, the realm of the Lord of Purgatory is much higher than Sudang's, and Sudang's divine power eroded on it, and it also had no effect. Can I only throw away this purgatory material? Sudang hesitated, and then his eyes lit up. Yes, I can try this. Sudang's heart moved, and the bone purgatory material in his hand disappeared and appeared in the core data space in his mind. Then the core data space was shared, and the eyes of the colorful stone clone far away in the void of the medieval era opened. I will transfer this purgatory material here. If you have the ability, come to the void of the medieval era to find me. Sudang's colorful stone clone smiled. The terrible power of the divine emperor, immortal emperor, who was approaching the Holy Spirit void ancestor, permeated his body. This is the territory of Huan Kundeofu, and it is not afraid of the life of purgatory at all. At the same time, Sudang left the original cliff cave and fled hundreds of miles away in an instant. I don't know if any warriors have discovered that Danki's clone inspiration 1 data space sharing many small clones. A large part of these come from the dungeon. The dungeon will soon give away the sky set. Is there anyone who is tempted? Haha, it's a pity that you have to sign in to be permanent, and you still have to work hard. At the same time, I wish you all a happy holiday and a happy spring festival in advance. Chapter 538, The Abyss Deep in the Canyon. The canyon was extremely wide and deep, like an abyss. In the many materials about the King's Island, given to Sudang by the blue-clothed goddess, this canyon was named the King's Valley by the local life. Legend has it that there is a river flowing here, and the new king bathed in the river and finally forged the ultimate king body, live forever between heaven and earth and open up an ultimate road. Now there is naturally no river. Under the destruction of the void, the canyon also collapsed everywhere, but it was precisely because of the collapse that this canyon could form a vacuum area without any rocks blocking it. Sudang quickly moved from the cliffs of the canyon, moved along the cliffs of the canyon to 100 miles away, and then opened a cave in the same way, hiding in the cave, watching his previous hiding place from afar, dozens of miles away from the edge of the canyon. The evil Purgatory Master and the fierce Purgatory Master and other Purgatory life forms. Their faces changed, and they all stopped immediately, staring at the magic light picture in front of them. Disappeared. The trace disappeared. Everyone's face was full of surprise. The Lord of the Evil Purgatory frowned, opened, and closed his 2 mouths, and looked at the Lord of the Evil Purgatory coldly. What's going on? The Lord of the Evil Purgatory stared with a pair of demonic eyes. Impossible. The mark I left can be sensed within 10,000 miles. How could it disappear? Maybe he found your mark and erased it. The Lord of the Evil Purgatory growled. Impossible. I would feel it if the mark was erased. The mark has not disappeared, but the distance is extremely far. So far. The Lord of the Evil Purgatory could not describe the feeling. The distance was too far. He did not dare to believe it. Even if it was teleportation, it was possible to teleport thousands of miles away, but this, separated by countless voids? Waste. The Lord of the Evil Purgatory growled. The Lord of the Evil Purgatory moved his dragon tail, and demonic light burst out of his eyes. But when he saw the bloody mouth of the Lord of the Evil Purgatory opened on his chest, his momentum was gone. HMPH, let's go and take a look at the place where the Shura King stayed before. A group of purgatory creatures instantly turned into magic light and entered the canyon. They easily found the cave that Sudang had dug on the cliffs before. That is 100 miles away. Sudang activated his divine eyes. His super touch divine body vision could clearly see anything, even if it was separated by a world. At this moment, it was only 100 miles away, and he could easily see the purgatory creatures in the distance. Fortunately, it was in the void of the 2 worlds, suppressing any exploration, and those purgatory creatures could not find him peeping in the distance. Sudang saw the extremely tall demon shadow with magic light on his body and a bloody mouth on his chest. Another purgatory lord? And it seems that the previous purgatory lord was very afraid of it. At first glance, the demon shadow purgatory lord was not an ordinary purgatory life. Sure enough, reinforcement have come. Want to kill me in one fell swoop? Sudang's eyes were cold. If there is a chance, if we can kill a purgatory lord, that would be a great gain. Sudang was secretly thinking. However, he was just thinking about it temporarily. Unless his swordsmanship broke through again, or his power was superimposed. Even if the ultimate mode broke out, he could only tie with the previous Purgatory Lord. Kill. Tie and kill are two concepts. The characteristics of Purgatory life, that are difficult to die and extinguish, are destined to be extremely difficult to kill. Of course, Sudan couldn't kill the Purgatory Lord, and the Purgatory Lord couldn't kill him either. In terms of the vitality of the divine body, Sudan was not inferior to them at all. Sudan was already at the forefront of the evolution of the divine body. The low-level Purgatory life would be afraid of him. The Shuriken once stayed here. It's a pity that he escaped. If we could have come a step earlier, maybe we could have entangled him. The Nink Purgatory Lord glanced at the evil Purgatory Lord next to him. Shut up. The evil Purgatory Lord shouted, and the other high-level Purgatory life was immediately silent. The evil power of the Lord of Purgatory of Evil is much greater than that of the Lord of Purgatory of Evil. The Lord of Purgatory of Evil loves to eat. You can't say for sure, he will eat them, if he is not happy. The Lord of Purgatory of Evil sneered and said nothing. If he had not made great contributions to the killing of King Shura, he would not have walked with the Lord of Purgatory of Evil. The Lord of Purgatory of Evil opened both mouths. A scarlet tongue stretched out from the mouth on his face. The tongue was covered with sharp barbs, which made people have no doubt that it could easily scrape off a layer of flesh and blood from any creature. The mouth on his chest had no tongue at all. There were only extremely sharp teeth. This mouth did not speak, nor did it taste delicious food, but was only responsible for eating. TSK. I tasted it. Such delicious flesh and blood. It is more delicious than a Holy Spirit Zuzu goddess I have eaten. This is such a noble ingredient. If I can have a bite, it is worth dying for. The Lord of Purgatory of Evil spoke. A group of Purgatory creatures, including the Lord of Purgatory of Evil, shuddered, afraid that this person would not be able to resist eating them first. Sudan, who was 100 miles away, was also watching, looking at the Lord of Purgatory in the cave with his bloody mouth wide open, and making strange movements. What is he doing? Whoosh. This book has been updated recently in .. Update. Suddenly, the evil Lord of Purgatory rushed out of the cave, his cold eyes patrolling the canyon. Well, it can't be wrong. He will be nearby, within 100 miles. He was born to be a foodie, and was extremely sensitive to the taste of food. A divine body like Sudan's evolved to this level, and it evolved by fusing the root blood. In his eyes, it was simply an irresistible temptation. Such delicious flesh and blood, I must eat it, and this Shuriken must be found. It must kill the Shuriken, and eat up the Shuriken's flesh and blood. Delicious flesh and blood can not only satisfy his appetite, it can make him stronger. Its way of cultivation is eating. Of course, it is much more advanced than that of the Stone Ghost clan. The Stone Ghost clan eats everything, but it is different. It only eats high quality food, the higher the better. And, even if the Stone Ghost clan is extremely powerful, it is not as good as one of his fingers. From a distance, Sudan had a bad feeling when he looked at the Lord of Purgatory. Then he saw many Purgatory creatures began to patrol around, and the Lord of Purgatory was approaching him directly. This Purgatory creature is good at exploration? Sudan choked, and did not dare to take the risk. He quietly used his body skills to penetrate the cave, and shuttled towards the depths of the canyon. These Purgatory creatures are outside the canyon, so I will dive into the depths of the canyon. According to Lan Yi's information, this canyon abyss is a forbidden area. Why is it a forbidden area? Sudan was puzzled. The information Lan Yi obtained was obtained by searching the souls of some civilians or weaklings. The forbidden areas and GD in the eyes of some weaklings are just a hidden place in Sudan's eyes. Sudan floated all the way to the depths of the abyss. Outside, the hell creatures were searching frantically. The evil Lord of Hell even found the small cave where Sudan hid when he was observing them, and a hideous smile appeared on his face. It was like a starving beast seeing delicious food, and its whole body exuded a bloodthirsty aura, almost crazy. Run, run, none of the food I have locked on has escaped yet. It smiled grimly, and floated towards the bottom of the canyon. The Lord of Hell did not speak, and many hell creatures followed. Sudan flew all the way to the depths of the abyss, occasionally changing direction. As the depth became deeper and deeper, the light above was gradually blocked by the moisture and miasma gathered at the bottom of the canyon. Even Sudong's divine eyes could not penetrate the miasma to see the outside world, and Sudong smiled. This is really a good hiding place. Miasma can affect vision and smell. Sudong looked at the bottom of the canyon. In front of him was a platform extending from the stone wall, and below the platform was still a bottomless abyss. The abyss was endless. Crack. Suddenly, Sudong heard a strange sound. It was the sound of bones rubbing against each other, which was extremely abrupt in the silence. Chapter 539. Ghosts in the Abyss. The sudden sound of bones rubbing against each other was so strange and scary. In this dead silent area, the only light was provided by the divine light emitted by Sudong's own divine eyes, which was like two fireflies. What is that? Sudong looked in the direction of the sound. In the dark abyss, a huge and pale figure shuffled in the darkness, and an extremely huge skeleton actually flew through the abyss. The extremely huge and terrifying body had white bone wings that covered the sky and the sun, like an ancient pterosaur, and it still exuded terrifying power after turning into white bones, and shuttled through. Ghost? Sudong's divine eyes were shining. With his strength, he naturally had the confidence to kill these ghosts in an instant. He held his breath and stood on the platform to observe the ghost that suddenly appeared. The latter shuttled in the endless abyss, as if looking for something. After a moment, the figure disappeared. Sudong stood on the platform and tried to activate his soul and mind, but when he did, he was stunned. How is it possible? My soul and mind cannot leave my body? He was in the abyss, surrounded by endless darkness. The entire abyss was covered by this darkness, and the darkness was so thick that it could almost swallow Sudong's divine eyes and divine light. What is this place? Sudong felt a pressure. You know, after he was strengthened by the breath of purgatory, his own soul and mind had just reached a range of 100 feet in the two worlds of the galaxy void. Now in this abyss, he was suppressed and could not leave his body. Fortunately, my super touch divine body has extraordinary divine eyes and can peek into the surrounding 100 meters away. Sudong regained his composure. His divine body floated up and began to explore in this endless abyss. The huge and boundless abyss had no end at all. At Sudong's speed, he traveled in the direction where the huge white bone pterosaur disappeared before. In less than a quarter of an hour, Sudong traveled dozens of miles, but after these dozens of miles, Sudong did not find any special places, nor did he find any ghost figures. Then Sudong temporarily gave up patrolling and found a stone wall in the abyss. He took out the palace he carried with him, which turned into the size of a grain of rice, and hid on the stone wall. Then Sudong entered the palace, and then his soul and will entered the eternal time and space, and began to study the 8th level of Xian Wei Xian Dao far under a 10-fold time deceleration. After strengthening his talent and understanding several times in succession, Sudong's talent for swordsmanship was already high, and his super high talent for swordsmanship control, coupled with the constantly strengthened talent and understanding, plus such a long period of accumulation, Sudong's 8th level of Xian Wei Xian Dao Fa had already reached a bottleneck, and he was only one step away from breaking through. At this time, the purgatory life was outside, which was pressure, and pressure could stimulate potential. So he used the eternal time and space to start practicing. During the practice, time passed quickly. Soon 3 days passed, 3 days in the outside world, and 30 days in the eternal time and space. Those purgatory lives have never come down to the bottom of the abyss. Maybe it is indeed, because of the breath in the abyss, that he can't find his figure at all. It is naturally a good thing to be able to avoid the purgatory life in this way. This day is also an extremely quiet day. Day 4. Suddenly, the whole palace shook violently. An earthquake? Sudong was startled. He pulled his mind out of the eternal time and space and hurried to the palace window to look outside. In the rice-like palace, his figure was even smaller, and the outside world could not detect it at all, but he saw that the scene outside was changing. Boom. The palace shook violently. It's not an earthquake. It's the stone wall I'm leaning on that's moving. Without his soul and mind, Sudong naturally couldn't observe carefully and reacted at this moment. Damn, this is not a stone wall, it's a white bone ghost. Through the palace magic weapon, Sudong activated his divine eyes and vaguely saw a huge white bone skull with a length and width of more than 200 meters shaking in front of him. His palace magic weapon was attached to the back of this white bone life. The back was as wide as a mountain and moved quickly in the darkness. Sudong was like sitting on a train to hell, and he was moving quickly. I came from Huangquan Daofu. Could this really lead to Huangquan hell? Sudong smiled. Then he was home. Huangquan runs through reincarnation and the endless void era. Just see where this white bone life can travel to. Standing in the palace, Sudong looked at it like this, as if he was browsing the scenery in the abyss, and quickly went deeper on the back of the huge white bone life. Darkness permeated. In this boundless darkness, the huge white bone life that Sudong was riding was moving forward rapidly, but at the same time, Sudong was shocked to find that there were companions beside it. Some of these companions were gentle, while others were extremely arrogant and rushed around. Sudong saw through the palace that some of these companions had skeletons as high as 100 feet, with ferocious fangs and snow white bones. They were all alien species. Sudong didn't know how arrogant and tyrannical they were in their lifetime, but there were extremely many of them. Some were like tigers with divine wings, and some were like dragons with a single horn. There were even extremely huge centipedes, mantises and other huge insect skeletons. These skeletons seemed to be destroyed overnight with the destruction of the void, but now they are moving forward like swarming pupae, floating and wandering in the endless abyss, as if flowing and wandering in an invisible river. Sky River. Sudong thought of the legend of the Island of Kings. Legend has it that this was the King's Valley where the Sky River flowed, and a new king bathed in the Sky River here to achieve the ultimate king body. He was extremely shocked. Could it be that these skeletons were creatures in this Sky River when they were alive? The abyss is the bottom of the Sky River. Even if the Sky River has dried up and these lives have been destroyed, they are still swimming. What kind of vision is this? What kind of area is this? Sudong felt his scalp tingling. Boom. This book was recently updated in #@. Update. A huge white bone tiger shadow hit the white bone life that Sudong was on. The collision was so violent that it almost smashed Sudong's white bone life. His palace shook violently and almost fell. But the white bone life did not resist and continued to move forward. Sudong was not so easy to talk to. Hit me? Do you understand traffic rules? Sudong pointed out from the palace. The surging power of perfection condensed into a knife light, which surged against the wind and instantly turned into 100 meters long, directly chopping the tiger shadow white bones. Puff. Half of the tiger shadow skeleton was directly destroyed by the knife light and turned into powder. The remaining half was very small among the many companions. Its speed slowed down instantly, and it could no longer rush around. At the same time, a large number of white bone ghosts nearby seemed to know that the huge white skeleton that Sudong was riding was not easy to provoke, and they avoided it one after another. This made Sudong, the white bone life, travel much faster. Not long after, in the boundless dark abyss, an extremely wide river suddenly appeared in front of him, at least thousands of miles long. There were canyon stone walls on both sides of the river, and on the edges were many strange gravels emitting blue light, reflecting the entire lake. A white bone life flew over. Puff. A huge hand suddenly stretched out from the lake. The hand was as huge as the Five-Finger Mountain. It was even covered with moss and had strange runes. It was extremely powerful and directly crushed the white bone life and dragged it to the bottom of the lake. That hand has the power of the Holy Spirit Void Ancestor. Sudong saw it clearly and was secretly shocked. It was just a hand that rushed out of the lake and captured the white bone life. The shimmering lake surface was undulating, and from time to time a hand would fly out. There were also strange roars rising and falling underwater, as if there was a fight, but the lake was turbulent and turbid, and Sudong's divine eyes could not see what was in it. Soon, the white bone life that Sudong was riding flew over the lake. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 540, Doomsday Scene of Destruction. There are species with the power of the Holy Spirit lurking in this lake. If they fall into it, they will be finished. Sudong was secretly shocked. Just seeing the turbulent lake surface, Sudong felt a little shocked. He saw that huge palms like mountains grabbed the white bone life and would not let go. Once it was entangled under the lake, Sudong, no matter how he thought he dared to compete with the 5-crown shuriken in the ultimate mode, was unwilling to fall into it. The ants bite the elephant to death, and it would be the end if he fell into it. The white bone life is huge, and it doesn't dodge much, so it's easy to be caught. Sudong's heart moved slightly. Then he flew out of the palace. This section of the road is not as good as flying by himself. But just after flying out, boom boom boom. In an instant, dozens of huge palms and terrifying red vines shot out from the lake. The red vines had never appeared before. They suddenly appeared like twisted and hideous red snakes and shot towards Sudong one after another. Heavenly all things. Caught off guard, Sudong quickly used his body skills to dodge. His body turned into black and white light. This body skill that combined time and space once again showed its amazing scene. There was even another vague time node around him, which contained the past and the future. Sudong had already vaguely outlined the next level of the heavenly all things body skill, which was to focus on time, pursue more changes, and leave time nodes and space. The black and white light that Sudong turned into rushed out hundreds of meters, avoiding many vines and huge palms, and then disappeared in a blink of an eye. When it reappeared, it appeared several meters away from the node. Then the shadow of the node dissipated. It's almost there. When can I fly 100 meters and return to the starting point accurately? My second level of the heavenly all things body skill will be completed, Sudong said secretly. But at this time, a large number of vines suddenly appeared. They bent and shot in all directions, strangling him. Sudong was still thinking that he could avoid the vines by returning to the starting point, but he didn't expect it to appear again. He quickly used his body skills, but this time the vines were faster and hit Sudong instantly. They directly wrapped around Sudong's divine body. Not good. The moment the divine body was bound, Sudong felt that his divine body was completely out of control and was being pulled directly under the lake. Break it for me, Sudong growled, and the sky divine sword behind him suddenly came out of its sheath automatically. The sword moved with his heart, and a dark blade flashed by. The sharpness of this artifact instantly cut off the blood-colored vine, and Sudong's divine body instantly flew into the sky. But then a large number of terrifying blood-colored vines and palms appeared again. Is it endless? Sudong frowned, and he glanced at the white bone life flying in the distance. Those white bone lives did not suffer such treatment. Could it be targeting me? Sudong's heart moved. Whoosh. Sudong's body turned into a stream of light and returned to the palace attached to the white bone life again. Boom. The white bone life attached to Sudong's palace was moving forward. Wherever he passed, a huge hand suddenly rose up and burst out with terrible power, trying to grab the white bone life. Go. Sudong shot out a blade light, which suddenly expanded across the sky and directly cut the hand in half. Plop. The huge hand split into two and fell into the lake. Only a hand can capture the white bone ghost. If a hand fails, it's gone. This treatment is too different. Sudong was flying around attached to the white bone life without any danger. The lake was too wide, and he didn't know where the end was. Boom boom. He was moving on the back of the white bone life. Suddenly, his divine eye saw a flying boat emitting dark magic light from above landing. The flying boat landed, and on it stood the evil lord and the ninja lord, as well as many high-level purgatory lives. These purgatory life forms actually chased here? They can track me. Sudong was in the palace, and was immediately shocked. Could it be that he had something that could be located? He was ready to activate the ultimate mode to fight, but then he reacted. The purgatory life forms on the flying boat didn't notice him at all. They just looked at the scene in front of them, as if they were also shocked. Suddenly, Sudong thought of something, and couldn't help but smile. This lake can target life forms other than white bone life forms. These purgatory life forms actually took the flying boat. Sudong was watching from the back of the white bone life form. Although the Purgatory Lord was powerful, he couldn't emit his soul and divine thoughts here, which greatly reduced his own reaction ability. Coupled with the endless attacks, even the Purgatory Lord would be afraid of losing a layer of skin. As it started, Sudong was watching in front of him, and saw at a glance that hundreds of huge palms shot out densely at the same time, and a large number of blood-colored vines covered the flying boat like a blood-colored snake. This scene shocked Sudong. So terrifying. He was surprised, and the hell creatures on the flying boat were even more surprised. They also saw the hand that captured the huge bone creature, but they didn't take it seriously. How come there are so many of them here? This book has been updated recently in @ Update. Destroy. The magic light burst out from the body of the true Lord of the Terror. In an instant, a large hand and vines were wiped out, and they fell on the lake one after another. But in the next moment, more vines and hands soared into the sky and directly tore his magic light. Two high-level hell creatures had not reacted yet, and were instantly pulled down and pulled into the lake. They were silent in the blink of an eye. Dead. Sudong was shocked. The hell creatures died just like that. He guessed correctly. There was indeed a great horror in the lake. Dead. The true Lord of the Terror and the true Lord of the Evil Purgatory all widened their eyes. Be careful, there is a great danger in the lake. Don't get pulled down. The true Lord of the Terror roared. Let me do it. Boom. A terrifying explosion sounded. The entire body of the evil lord instantly turned into a terrifying demonic shadow that soared into the sky. The bloody mouth on his chest opened extremely large, as if he wanted to swallow the sky and the earth. He bit down and swallowed all the palms and vines in the lake. What? Sudong was shocked. He actually ate it? This Purgatory Lord is much stronger than that one. Many Purgatory creatures, including the Purgatory Lord of the Ning family, were also shocked and frightened. The evil Lord of Purgatory was notorious for being too fierce. The bloody mouth on his chest ate a piece of palm vines and kept chewing there. The expression on his face was indifferent. He didn't take these tricks seriously at all. For a powerful Purgatory Lord like him, the number didn't affect anything at all. It's a pity that he didn't know the horror of this abyss lake. Sudong sneered in the dark. He was not disappointed. In just a moment, more bloody vines and giant hands appeared again. This time, it was not only vines and giant hands, but even the entire black abyss began to thunder and lightning. This was originally a dark abyss, like a pitch black cloud layer, covered by endless dark clouds, with lightning and thunder. Crack. Huge lightning was flying wildly, completely concentrated in that area. A lightning bolt as thick as a bucket suddenly struck the body of the evil master. Sizzle. The terrifying thunder directly tore a gap in his body. The dark magic blood sprayed. The evil master of Purgatory was stunned after being struck, and flew away in an instant. He fell from the sky in a panic, and landed on the flying boat. It was too scary. The Purgatory creatures next to it were even more terrified. Sudong looked at the scene in front of him. The lightning was dancing wildly, the lake was surging, the giant hand was like the claws of the devil of destruction, the vines were like the messy hair of the god of death. All this scene was like the end of the world. The darkness enveloped the abyss. Sudong seriously doubted, is this a sign of the destruction of the void? What exactly does this abyss contain? Chapter 541, The Stone Tablet in the Abyss. Sudong was amazed and watched attentively. He was very happy to see these Purgatory creatures suffer. The whole body of the evil Purgatory master was surging with magic patterns, and the whole person was wrapped in a strong and rich magic light. The whole body was completely wrapped. This magic light has the effect of protecting the body. Even the ordinary Holy Spirit Void Ancestor cannot penetrate this magic light. Boom. I saw a bucket-thick line filled with blue electric arcs. More than 100 meters of thunder, like the dancing hair of the god of death, emerged directly from the dark abyss, tearing through the darkness and drawing a twisted arc, and in the blink of an eye, it penetrated the evil Purgatory master. A roar sounded, and the evil Purgatory master was surrounded by magic light. He was directly struck again, and the magic light of his entire body dimmed a lot. This thunder is so powerful, so terrible. Just this one strike definitely has the power of the Supreme Purgatory Master. Is there such a terrible area in the galaxy void of these two worlds? The evil Purgatory Master was shocked. When he just came to his senses, he hadn't reacted yet. Hooala. Blood-colored vines that sprang up like swarming cocoons surged wildly, trying to entangle and bind him. The evil Purgatory Lord was struck by thunder twice at this moment, and did not dare to fly at high altitudes at all, and was easily surrounded by blood-colored vines. The entire flying boat was surrounded, and the evil Purgatory Lord and several purgatory creatures on it all looked terrified. HMPH, these vines can't do anything to us. They can be cut off easily. The evil Purgatory Lord snorted coldly. Hua hua. A golden vine suddenly emerged from the blood-colored vines. The golden vine almost instantly penetrated his body, protecting magic light, and directly wrapped around his mouth on his chest. Then an incredible force came from the vine and tried to pull him down to the lake. Not good. The evil Purgatory Lord's face changed drastically. At the same time, with a bang, the entire flying boat was wrapped by the giant vine hand. It was submerged in those strange attacks. It's terrible. Sudong attached himself to the white bone life, and the huge white bone life did not stop at all, and kept moving forward. Since the giant hand stretched out from the lake and attacked the white bone life, there has been no danger. It soon disappeared from sight. Sudong watched the purgatory flying boat being submerged by thunder, giant hands, and blood-colored vines, as if it was being dragged down to the lake. The scene was too terrifying. These purgatory lives, they won't die just like that. Sudong thought to himself, as if he was worried about these purgatory lives, but a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. He wished that these purgatory lives would die here. The lake's surface can actually trigger thunder, so it's impossible to fly high to avoid it. There's no way to escape, so you can only bear it. Those terrifying vines and giant hands, once they pull them down to the lake, there must be terrifying beings in the lake. I'm afraid they can be easily killed. Sudong sneered. It's a pity that there are two purgatory master level purgatory auras. Then, Sudong turned his head and began to pay attention to the scene in front of him. After passing the lake area, the water flow split, and there were always thin streams of water flowing in the canyon in front, so the whole canyon was not quiet. In addition, the blue gravel was inlaid on the stone walls on both sides. Although the light was weak, it could be seen clearly. After experiencing the danger on the lake's surface before, Sudong did not dare to act rashly at this moment, so he honestly attached himself to the surface of the white bone life. There is a great terror in this abyss. Although I have the strength of a 5-crown shuriken in the ultimate mode, I still have a gap in many aspects such as self-defense. I can't take risks easily, but I also have many trump cards in my hand. Unless the top existence beyond the level of the 5-crown shuriken takes action, it is unlikely that I will be killed instantly. Sudong shook his head and looked up. Although there was still darkness above his head, Sudong felt that he was no longer just in the abyss of the canyon. The darkness above his head seemed to have become substantial, similar to a dark cave. He entered a deep and huge cave. After all, people go up, and water flows down. As long as you follow the flow of the lake, the height will become lower and lower. Entering the depths of a cave is nothing. Since you are in a cave, it is unlikely to fly up and out of the abyss directly. Sudong shook his head to force his way through the lake he just came from. There were no white skeletons flying upside down around. Obviously, he had no way out now that he had come here. I want to see where these white skeletons will eventually gather. He was full of curiosity about this area at the moment. He did not consider retreating. With confidence in his own strength, he was determined to explore. In this way, he went down on the backs of the white skeletons. In this huge and dark cave, after a long time, two figures rushed in at a speed faster than the speed of light. Get out. A cluster of blue flames lit up and directly burned a giant hand, emitting golden light into ashes. Then the two figures fell awkwardly on a stone below the canyon. Only then did he breathe a sigh of relief. This book has been recently updated on #@. Update. Finally we have crossed the lake. It turns out that the lake didn't attack the white bone life crazily. If I had known, I wouldn't have taken the flying boat. Two figures, the half of the demon body of the true Lord of Purgatory of the Ninka was completely torn apart, and black blood was flowing. The whole chest and mouth of the evil were split open, and countless sharp teeth fell out. He was in a mess. At this moment, he held an oil lamp with a flashing blue flame in his hand, and his face was full of palpitations. Terrible, too terrible. The evil was in a mess. He looked back at the terrifying lake that could no longer be seen clearly and even trembled. His teeth were comparable to artifacts and magic weapons. Even ordinary artifacts could be bitten into pieces, but at this moment, they were all broken. He was different from other purgatory lives. Most of his strength was in this good set of teeth. If his teeth were broken, his own strength would be greatly reduced. For a long time, he had never been so embarrassed. It can even be said that he was close to death. The golden vines, golden giant hands, and even golden thunder that emerged from the strange lake at the end. The power and terror all surpassed the level of the true lord and reached the level of the hell demon. There were so many of them that they were extremely terrifying. Such a terrifying place actually appeared here? What exactly is this place? Nink, you have been stationed here for a long time, and you don't know this area. The evil face looked at Nink coldly. My mission is to gather subordinates and check for information. Keep an eye on the movements of the local life forms such as the Lord of Monkey King City, and find the remains of the sages. Nink shook his head hurriedly. To be honest, he usually doesn't show up. Waste. The evil roared. Nink just smiled, and didn't dare to refute. I have never heard of such a place. So dangerous, even beyond the level of the hell demon. Such a strange place. There was no intelligence in the past. If it weren't for the purgatory magic lamp given by the Lord of the Hell, I'm afraid you and I would be dead. At this moment, they were no longer careless, but just a little bit fortunate. They didn't think about catching Sudang. According to their estimation, Ashura King would have died long ago if he fell into such a desperate situation. The area in front of them was what they were most concerned about. The more dangerous the area, the greater the secrets and even treasures. Let's go and explore it. Holding the magic lamp, Z led Nink along the gurgling lake. Dark abyss, deeper. A large number of white bone creatures moved forward and came to a huge area that looked like a jungle of rocks in the dark. Then they stopped. One by one, huge and bright skeletons were lined up outside the area. The scene was weird and shocking. At the front, Sudang saw a towering stone tablet. He had seen the same broken stone tablet before, with the inscriptions dug out. At this moment, the stone tablet stood in front, emitting blood red and golden light, enjoying the worship of countless white bone creatures. Chapter 542, The Blood of the Origin reappears. This stone tablet is very similar to the stone tablet of the ancient city on the Island of Kings, which is worshipped by countless ordinary people. Sudang had been to the ancient city at night, but never explored it. It was crowded during the day, and it was said that it was because the Island of Kings was now closed. The Island of Kings was closed, and the kings would awaken, revive, and bring down inheritance and welfare. This is the time of the king. This legend was told by Lin Cheng and Sudang. At that time, Sudang only thought it was a legend of the native life, but now, Sudang was shocked that the legend would not only be a legend. The stone tablet shrouded in darkness was flowing with blood. Countless white bone lives came from the abyss just to worship this stone tablet. Wow. Suddenly, the entire group of white bone lives became agitated. Standing in the front were several large skeletons, some of which looked like real dragons, and some looked like unicorns and divine phoenixes. Their skeletons were as crystal clear as jade, and even naturally emitted a strange light. It was obvious that these white bones were all alien species when they were alive. Extraordinary in life, and full of magic after death. Among them, the huge white bones that look like a real dragon are far more crystal clear than other white bones, and even have magical light remaining. It seems to have divinity left. It stands out from the crowd. It looks up at the bloody stone tablet and worships. It seems to be asking for some kind of gift. It still has such spiritual energy after death. It has become a spirit. Sudang looked at the white bone life and was surprised. He had seen many monsters, such as the Jin Dynasty Heaven and Earth, the 9 Realms Heaven and Earth. In the Jin Dynasty Heaven and Earth, it did not become a god. Some mortal monsters are very jumpy, and there are many monsters who have become gods and immortals in the 9 Realms Heaven and Earth. However, although they have opened their spiritual intelligence, they are still in the 6 ways. It is considered a life. In terms of strength, the huge white bones in front of it can easily crush a world. Any monster will be killed before it reaches this white bone life. The level difference is too big. But in terms of spiritual intelligence, it is obvious that there is still a gap between this white bone life and monsters. Intelligence and strength are two concepts. No matter how strong a whale is, its intelligence is not as good as that of a 10-year-old child. The dragon-shaped skeleton pleaded in front of the stone tablet. The blood-colored stone tablet shone with blood, and a blood-colored brilliance emerged, reflecting on the dragon-shaped skeleton. Suddenly, the dragon skeleton was flashing with a strange light all over its body, and it roared to the sky, as if it was about to make a dragon roar that would shake the earth. This scene was shocking. Then, Sudong saw a drop of blood-colored blood emerging from the stone tablet under the blood-colored light. The appearance of the blood drop caused a large number of bones to tremble and yearn. The dragon-shaped skeleton yearned to stand opposite the blood drop. Sudong felt something in his heart, and observed the blood drop carefully, and suddenly widened his eyes. The blood of the origin? Even though he was far away, and could not use his divine thoughts to explore, Sudong felt a vigorous blood contained in the blood drop in an instant. However, unlike the black blood of origin, which contained a strong vitality, this drop of red blood of origin contained a strong killing aura, which was cold and terrifying. The blood of origin actually floated out from the stone tablet. Sudong was shocked and eager. He could fuse and evolve the blood of origin, which would be of great help to his strength. But the scene was too strange at the moment, so Sudong did not dare to act rashly, so he hid behind the back of the huge skeleton and watched. Many white skeletons were watching like him. Looking forward, he saw that the dragon skeleton was swallowing and spitting blood and ki towards the drop of blood of origin. The blood and ki were rising, but it was not directly consumed and fused, but swallowed and spit out the blood and ki in it. Sudong was very surprised, as if the dragon skeleton had mastered some strange method of cultivation. It was similar to the cultivation of life, which was to absorb the essence of the sun and the moon and the spiritual energy of the world, but the dragon skeleton was swallowing and spitting out the blood and ki of the origin. Who knows, it will eventually succeed in cultivation. In a small world, it is definitely a peerless monster. The blood and energy that the dragon skeleton exhaled and swallowed condensed into a blood-colored airflow like light ball at its dragon head, which was looming. And there was a faint glow on every crystal white bone of its entire huge skeleton. In the next half an hour, every white bone life tried to come forward to swallow and spit out blood and energy, but except for the dragon skeleton, the true phoenix skeleton, and a few individual magical skeletons, the other white bone lives swallowed and spit out very little blood and energy. About half an hour later, it was the turn of the white bone life that Sudong was attached to. This white bone life stupidly came forward to swallow and spit. TSK, just swallow and spit out blood and energy like this. How long will it take to practice? I can't swallow and spit out blood and energy. I have to directly merge and evolve. Sudong said secretly. The root blood is right in front of him, smelling the blood and energy. It's useless. What he wants is a whole drop. Come on. Just when the white bone life under him was about to swallow and spit out blood, Sudong's figure instantly shot out, faster than the speed of light, and a black and white light flashed, directly holding the drop of root blood in his hand, and then the black and white light flashed again. Whoosh! He flew directly back to the palace. Then he instantly manipulated the rice-sized palace to fall under the stone tablet, and he attached himself to the stone tablet. According to the importance these white bone lives attached to the stone tablet, it was obvious that these white bone lives would never disrespect the stone tablet. Got it? Sudong succeeded instantly. In the palace, he looked at the root blood in his hand, which contained vigorous blood. It was full of supreme magical essence. He stood in the palace, feeling the fragrance of this blood. This book was recently updated in update. In the outside world, all the white bone lives stopped moving. They stared at the scene in front of them, and they didn't know if they could see or react. In short, everyone stopped moving, as if some program conflict had crashed, and everyone stood there. Suddenly, a white light flashed. Sudong's heart shuddered. Then he saw the huge white bone life that was still standing in front of the stone tablet was instantly torn apart by a bone claw, and then swept by a bone dragon tail, breaking into powder. In the blink of an eye, it died. TSK, Big Brother Bagu, I'm sorry. Sudong silently apologized to the white bone life that brought him here. At the same time, he was shocked that the magical white bone life that absorbed the blood of the origin was indeed powerful enough. I'm afraid it is at the same level as the Lord of Purgatory. The white bone life was killed with one blow. The root blood was lost, and the entire white bone life fell into chaos, and some fell into a manic state. Sudong ignored them, and attached to the palace under the stone tablet, he began to fuse the evolutionary blood, absorb the root blood into the core data space, and then decompose it into the infinite blood evolution and blood in the Dantian mobile phone. Then put a drop of Sudong's own super touch blood. After a while, a prompt popped up. Simulation successful. Evolution is possible. Please pay 27 million heaven and earth essence crystals to start the evolution. Sudong silently paid the high evolution fee, and then a golden light appeared on the screen of the mobile phone. The light red blood in the golden light merged with the root blood and evolved. Evolution was successful. A drop of blood with two colors of blood and gold appeared. As soon as the blood appeared, a crown-shaped phantom even appeared faintly on the surface. The phantom penetrated time and lurked in the blood. That was the royal blood characteristic of the ultimate king body. Time cannot erase it, and generations cannot kill it. Sudong felt the tyranny of this blood, and then without hesitation, he directly guided this drop of evolved divine blood into his body. Chapter 543, Ultimate King Body Sequence. The divine blood evolved again. Sudong guided this drop of blood entangled with blood and gold into his body, and merged it into his divine body. Suddenly, his entire divine body burst into brilliant divine light, and thousands of rays of light illuminated the palace with brilliant brilliance. The evolved divine blood was like a domineering invader, sweeping all the divine blood in Sudong's entire divine body. This was an extremely exciting moment. The pure and majestic blood energy continued to flow towards Sudong's limbs and bones, evolving. The brilliant divine light and blood energy rays flowed on Sudong's body like water waves. There was a green flame of life burning and rising, and a huge divine tree took root in the Dantian, while the more brilliant blood light and the misty rays of light gradually gathered in Sudong's right hand. Sudong's soul was restrained, observing this scene. The huge divine blood evolved, and finally a magical scene happened on his right hand, until it evolved to the later stage, and finally a blood vortex appeared in his right hand. The blood vortex condensed into a light spot, perfectly combined with Sudong's palm. The blood-colored light spot is Sudong's palm, and Sudong's palm is the blood-colored light spot. His right palm is completely divine, like a divine tree rooted in his Dantian. This blood-colored vortex is gathered in his right hand, and there is amazing power lurking in it. The divine body has evolved again. This time, the vitality has not been improved. But I can feel that the quality of my divine body in all aspects has been greatly improved. Sudong clenched his palm. The surging divine power of the king's power gathered in his palm, surging with explosive power. His divine body strength has been greatly improved, and his bones and other aspects have been greatly improved. This blood-colored vortex gathered in my right hand. Sudong raised his right hand and looked at the blood-colored light spot in his palm. Although it looks like a blood-colored light spot to the naked eye, it is actually a blood-colored vortex inside. The blood-colored vortex is an evolutionary gift of the king's body, like the divine tree in the Dantian. Through the blood vortex, Sudong could clearly feel that tiny rays of blood were absorbed from the vortex into his body. That was the blood of the king's power contained in the world. The blood flowed happily into Sudong's body. It was like a stream flowing over and over again. Not only was his divine body full of surging blood, but his spirit felt extremely full and full. Not only that, Sudong could feel that there was a big secret in the blood light spot in his palm. It contained terrible power, but it was just dormant in his palm. Sudong stood up, and the evolution of his divine body made him feel full of explosive power. His eyes were even more shining. With the infinite evolution of divine blood, combined with the blood of the origin, my divine body has already walked at the forefront of the Shuriken. He was extremely excited. Coming to the two worlds of the galaxy was his great gain, which made his strength leap again and again. It was only him who had such a perverted application of the infinite evolution of divine blood that made such a huge improvement. Ordinary foreign life forms cannot cultivate the power of the king at all. If they want to follow the system of the power of the king, they can't do it. Either take over the body, or recast the clone. But the progress is definitely not as terrible as Sudong's. 2 consecutive divine body leaps. Sudong's divine body has reached a terrible level. Among the void life, the bloodline of the divine emperor is the top level, but Sudong has already evolved and surpassed it, and has more powerful potential and talent. After the evolution of the divine body was completed, Sudong looked through the palace to the outside of the stone tablet. There were many white bone lives in the chaos, and there were still powerful white bone lives worshipping the stone tablet, eager to be given the root blood again. Sudong absorbed a drop of root blood, and looked at the stone tablet again. Previously, he only paid attention to the root blood floating in front of the stone tablet, and did not pay attention to the words on it. At this moment, he saw the many words on the stone tablet. The sequence of the 12 ultimate king bodies. The eternal ultimate king body. The soul-devouring demon sealing ultimate king body. The stone tablet records that in the king's power system, from ancient times to the present, a total of 12 ultimate king bodies have been born, arranged in order, and recorded on the stone tablet. The eternal ultimate king body ranks 7th, and the ultimate king is almost immortal. The flame of eternal life will burn for eternity. The soul-devouring demon sealing ultimate king body ranks 3rd. It can devour everything and seal everything. Among the 12 ultimate king bodies recorded on the stone tablet, these two made Sudong's soul resonate strongly. With his strength growing to this point, the cause and effect opportunities are extremely sharp. Just like the legend, discussing the Holy Spirit Void Ancestor across several worlds will be easily detected. This is a magical power after the realm is strong to a certain level. Sudong immediately understood. The drop of black root blood that he first absorbed and evolved was the root blood of the eternal ultimate king body, and the drop of red root blood that just evolved was from the soul-devouring demon sealing ultimate king body. The soul-devouring demon sealing ultimate king body ranks 3rd among the 12 ultimate king bodies and is extremely good at attacking. So that green flame of life is called the fire of eternal life. This blood vortex comes from the soul-devouring demon sealing ultimate king body and gathers in my right hand. Let's call it the soul-devouring demon sealing hand. Sudong thought to himself. The 12 ultimate king bodies each have their own strengths. Sudong wondered if he could gather all 12 ultimate king body magical powers in one body. What level would that be? Sudong had a faint expectation in his heart. But the stone tablet only emitted red light, and no more blood of the origin appeared. There seems to be a passage behind the stone tablet. Sudong's heart moved, and without the white bone life forms noticing, he drove the palace, that was only the size of dust, to move behind the stone tablet. With a strong desire to explore, Sudong wanted to take a peek at the deep passage. There was an ancient stone tablet with the 12 ultimate king bodies guarding it. What kind of secrets did it contain? He walked towards the depths of the passage. Roar. After traveling for about dozens of miles, suddenly an extremely eerie and terrifying howl sounded in the dark passage. This howl made Sudong feel his scalp tingling. It was so evil and terrifying. This book has been updated recently in .. Update. What is this cry? Sudong was terrified and dared not move forward. He looked forward through the palace. In the passage, there were fluorescent gravels illuminating the cave. Sudong could vaguely see a head as tall as a hill. The head was rising in the darkness, accompanied by his thick arms, like a mountain range. It was more than 10,000 feet long. This scene was too terrible. The momentum of that life was too incredible. Sudong vaguely felt the momentum of the existence of the 10 palaces shrinking. The mountain-like head was roaring to the sky, and the strong breath of death was floating violently. An ancient legend echoed in Sudong's mind. This is a burial ground of kings. The island of kings is sealed, and the ancient kings will be revived. The ancient kings are revived? Sudong exclaimed. Huh? What is that? Sudong's eyes focused, and through the gap of the huge figure, he seemed to see a corner of a different scene, a glimpse, similar to a corner of the world. Sudong was exploring. At this time, a big wave suddenly came from the outside world. Boom. The wave roared so loud that Sudong, who was dozens of miles away in the depths of the cave, could hear it. Is this a battle wave? Sudong was shocked. Who is fighting? Then he thought of the white bone life and purgatory life in the outside world. Those purgatory lives are not dead yet. Chapter 544. The relics of the king. Sudong was still in doubt, and then he saw two magic lights, a huge white bone dragon life, and several terrifying white bone lives entangled and rushing into the cave. It's them. All the other purgatory lives are dead. Only the two of them are left. Sudong controlled the palace and attached it to the stone wall of the cave, watching silently. Boom. The two figures of the evil purgatory master and the evil purgatory master were both full of magic light. The evil purgatory master waved the magic blade, and the evil purgatory held a magic lamp emitting faint blue flames. The magic lamp stimulated clusters of blue flames. When the blue flames touched the white bone life, the white bone life would turn into powder in an instant. What a terrible magic weapon. Sudong was secretly shocked. They, the void life, have artifacts, and the purgatory life also has magic weapons. Magic weapons are also of great value. Their materials and refining methods are extremely precious. It seems that they can pass through the lake by relying on this magic lamp. Sudong looked at the purgatory master who was fighting with the white bone life, and he was secretly gathering strength. This is a rare opportunity. If he can take advantage of it to kill a purgatory lord, he will make a fortune. With his current strength, coupled with the outbreak of the ultimate mode, it is entirely possible to kill a purgatory lord unexpectedly. Just be careful of the magic lamp. Sudong stared closely. It is indeed here. Haha. When I saw the king steely, I knew that we found it. This is the place left by the sages. The purgatory lord of Nink was very excited. His voice was trembling. Z also showed a grim smile. They also saw the ancient king who revived in the passage, and also saw the corner of the world behind him. Yes. This is all my credit. My credit. I found the remains of the king, and I made a profit this time. Z roared. This is the credit of both of us. Nink's smile choked and he said, shut up, trash. Without me, can you get here? Z didn't give Nink a chance to speak. Stealing credit? He was willing to share the credit for capturing the Shuriken, but the king's relics. This was a great credit, a super great credit, and the value was incomparably huge and amazing. Just passing this news back was worth the value of the purgatory magic lamp in my hand, attached to the stone wall of the cave. Sudong, who was ready to take action at any time, listened quietly to the two purgatory lords arguing for credit. He couldn't help but frowned. Relics of the sages? Relics of the king? He had never heard of it, but he had been on the Island of Kings for a long time. Thinking of the many purgatory lives who took over the bodies and entered the Monkey King city, thinking of their plans. The target of the purgatory lives was vaguely the Lord of the Monkey King city. What was there about the Lord of the Monkey King city that attracted the purgatory lives? Lord of the Monkey King city? Suddenly, Sudong thought of the many files on the desk that he had peeked at in the Monkey King city lord's mansion, and some of the handwriting on them. Relics of the kings. Relics of the ancient destruction? Sudong's eyes suddenly lit up. Is this the goal of these purgatory lives? He understood it instantly. Why did the purgatory lives gather on the Island of Kings? Why did they madly seize the bodies of geniuses just for this relic of the king? Zine, don't go too far. If I hadn't notified the prison master to ask you to help capture the Shuriken, would you have come here? I want at least 30% of this credit. The true Lord of Purgatory, Ninka, exploded. The magic blade split the white bone life, and a pair of cold eyes flashing with magic light suddenly glared at Zine. This credit is too great. Even 30% can make him crazy. The legacy of the sages, the many magic weapons and purgatory methods contained in it. Those are the relics of the super ancient times. In ancient times, the purgatory lives had conquered this era void, and eventually the void was destroyed. They have ancient purgatory lives buried here, and now they are here to find it. This is a great treasure. Any magic weapon taken out of it is hundreds or thousands of times more expensive than the purgatory magic lamp. Red eyes. Zine couldn't help but look at Ninka, holding the infernal magic lamp. He burned the last of the white bone dragon's life into ashes, and looked at Ninka coldly. Treasures are tempting. When the benefits are too great, his little pressure can't suppress Ninka's greed. Zine, think clearly. I have reported to the prison master. What will be the consequences if you attack me before you get the remains of the king's relics and the sages? Ninka sneered. Besides, this information alone is inestimable, not to mention the remains. Any one of them is enough for you and me to greatly improve our strength. Spend lavishly. He persuaded. In terms of strength, he is certainly not as good as Zine. The bloody mouth on Zine's chest opened and closed, as if it would bite Nenka at any time, and Nenka held the magic blade, and was extremely alert. The atmosphere froze at this moment. But in the end, Zine still held back. He glanced at Nenka with cold eyes. "I'm mate of you. Don't be too greedy," Zine said. Nenka's face twitched, and then he smiled. "I'll take 20% of my share. Anyway, this news alone is a great achievement. As long as we can get a magic weapon left by the sage, that's enough." The two purgatory beings negotiated in this way. Sudang, who was hiding in the palace, sighed secretly. "I thought the two purgatory masters were going to kill each other, but I didn't expect it to be so easy to negotiate." Roar, the revived ancient king was roaring. "What is that?" Z looked at the revived ancient king, and his face changed as well. He also felt the terrifying pressure. "It's just a dead, but not stiff corpse. This book was recently updated in #@. Update. This is a burial place of the kings. These scums of the two worlds and galaxies fought to the death with our purgatory in ancient times. In the end, the void was destroyed, but they are still lingering." Ninkat sneered. "We just need to notify the demon lord, and the demon lord will lead the demons to come, and naturally we can solve these lingering scums. They have been planning for a long time, and have already made arrangements. We need demons at the level of the true master. If they are lower, don't come," Z said. "If you are too weak, you will die here, and you have to share the credit. Don't worry." The remains of the king. Sudang originally wanted to take the opportunity to kill a purgatory lord, but at this moment he calmed down. The purgatory lord named Ze held a magic weapon, and there were two purgatory lords. A rash move would only put him in danger. The remains of the king. The more important it is to purgatory life, the more it must be destroyed. I can't destroy it. Notify the sixth Tiger Shuriken. Sudang took out the Huanquan Fu talisman from his hand. Thinking that he was carrying out this simple task of collecting ominous signs, he actually encountered such a big event as purgatory life by chance. Destroying the big event of purgatory life is a great achievement. The talisman refined by Huanquan Fu is still extremely magical, and it can transmit messages even at a long distance. In a temple outside the vast two-world galaxy void, the sixth Tiger Shuriken was dressed in armor and sat on the throne, exuding a domineering and fierce aura. In his hand was a decree. According to intelligence records, before the two worlds galaxy was destroyed, a great being left behind a treasure for revival, which was hidden somewhere in this void. There are a total of 6 suspected locations. It is called the King's Relics by the local life. Where is this King's Relics? The sixth Tiger Shuriken frowned. This was one of his missions, to guard the two worlds galaxy, to find the King's Relics. Suddenly, a wave of fluctuations came. Sudang sent a message. "Did you find an ominous sign?" A smile appeared on the face of the sixth Tiger Shuriken. He flipped his hand and took out the command token. "Senior sixth Tiger Shuriken." Sudang's voice came. The sixth Tiger Shuriken smiled and was about to speak, but Sudang's voice continued to come. After he heard the content clearly, the words that came to his mouth stopped. "I found a relic on the island of kings in the void of the two worlds galaxy. It is called the King's Relics by the Purgatory Life. Here is the detailed information." Sudang directly passed on what he saw and heard through the command token. Of course, things about the evolution of the root blood were skipped. Chapter 545. The Ancient King resurrects, and changes begin. The remains of the king? The voice of the sixth Tiger Cultivator King trembled. Then he quickly checked the images sent by Sudang. The terrifying lake in the depths of the endless abyss, the red glowing stone tablet, the surprised conversation between the two purgatory masters, and the ancient king who was reviving. The most important thing was that in the depths of the abyss cave, a corner of the world appeared like a startled wild goose. "It is indeed the remains of the king," the sixth Tiger Cultivator King exclaimed. He was just worrying about where to find the remains of the king, and Sudang brought such good news. He immediately said, "Very good. Sudong, this remains of the king is a first-class treasure land, which is very important to our Huanquindeo mansion. You found this treasure land, and I will report it to the mansion, and give you a great credit. According to my estimation, this credit is at least worth 3 million reincarnation fruits. Sudong, who was sending the message, was shocked. 3 million reincarnation fruits? Isn't that 300 million Huanquindeo fruits? Just a piece of news is so valuable? Don't doubt it. This king's relic is a great treasure. I will send the Taoist strongman there. Be careful and don't expose yourself. If you get hurt, I won't be able to explain to Yama. The sixth Tiger Shuriken warned in a low voice. Yes. Sudong agreed. Then the communication was cut off. I didn't expect that I could get such a great credit just by reporting this news. No wonder the two purgatory masters are arguing. The value is too great. Anyone would be jealous. Sudong thought to himself. 3 million reincarnation Deo fruits are enough for me to buy a set of similar artifact equipment and upgrade the Book of Life and Death. He stood in the palace waiting. In the outside world, the sixth Tiger Shuriken hurriedly transferred the Shuriken of Huanquindeo Fu in the Two Worlds galaxy. The king's relic is in the Island of Kings. The Island of Kings is closed. It is difficult to get out once you enter. There are 10 sacred mountains and 2 holy places to supervise it. It is extremely dangerous to enter it. That is the inside of the Two Worlds galaxy. It is too dangerous to go in and not be able to get out for a while. The only good news is that the native life of the Two Worlds galaxy will also be affected by the ban. Send a message, a public message. All the 5 crowned Shurikens in the Two Worlds galaxy, listen to the decree. The king's relics have appeared on the Island of Kings. Go and explore, and you can get 20% of the treasure's value. Here are the detailed coordinates and many taboos. The sixth Tiger Shuriken sent a message and reported to the Northern Yin Lord King at the same time. Even the biggest actions must be arranged by the Lord King. The Island of Kings? In a small world in the void of the Two Worlds galaxy, a Shuriken with a rather vicissitudes of life appeared. His face was broken and withered, but his eyes were bright and shining. The king's relics have appeared. It's worth my effort. Suddenly, the sky covering light shone everywhere, and this Shuriken activated the magic weapon. Directly broke through the barrier between heaven and earth, and went to the area where the Island of Kings was located. In the Two Worlds of the galaxy, deep in a broken and incomplete mountain, there is a palace that is seriously inconsistent with the layout here. In the spacious and luxurious palace, a tall and burly figure in a black robe is studying a rare treasure. There is a Shuriken mark on his forehead, flashing with powerful power fluctuations. Suddenly, Ling Fu received a message. The remains of the king? The Island of Kings. Very good, this is my chance. This powerful Shuriken directly controlled the magic palace to shuttle through the void and flew towards the Island of Kings. In another place, another powerful Shuriken received a message. The remains of the king. Mining the remains of the king has made great contributions, but the Island of Kings is forbidden, and it is easy to get in, but difficult to get out. The appearance of such a treasure land will definitely attract the attention of the 10 great sacred mountains. Entering the Island of Kings now? This powerful Shuriken shook his head. No matter how many treasures there are, no matter how great the benefits are, you have to spend your life. He has long been a 5-crowned Shuriken, the life of the Holy Spirit Void Ancestor, eternal and immortal, and his spirit of adventure has been reduced a lot. Such scenes are staged in the void of the Two Worlds of the galaxy. Some went there happily, while others retreated. And the purgatory life. A purgatory life stronghold dormant in the galaxy between the two worlds. In a black palace hall, there were 3 thrones in the inky black hall, and at this moment, 3 figures were sitting on the thrones. Each of them had a magic light rising to the sky. In front of them, there were dozens of demons kneeling, each with jet black wings, all extremely tall. All demons obey my orders. The demon sitting on the throne in the front spoke. The magic light on his body was as deep as the sea. When he spoke, the many purgatory life demons kneeling below immediately obeyed his orders respectfully. The purgatory life has a strict hierarchy. The weak must obey the orders of the strong. There is no choice at all. Disobedience means death. Immediately go to the Island of Kings and find the remains of the sages. Yes, I will lead the team myself. Even if the top hunting group of the 10 divine mountains takes action, I can stop it. The purgatory life in a black robe, who was also sitting on the throne, stood up. He is higher in rank than the Lord of Purgatory, and his strength can crush the evil Lord of Purgatory. Well, Flame Demon, it will be safer for you to go. This legacy left by the sage to my purgatory must be obtained. I will wait for your good news here. A smile appeared on the face of the purgatory life sitting on the throne in the front. Flame Demon Purgatory life flew out of the palace first, and the demons turned into black light, and followed at the same time. This book was recently updated in update. Just when a large number of Shura Kings were mobilized, and Purgatory life also rushed to the Island of Kings, in the Monkey King City and the Island of Kings. 3 figures were standing in the main hall of the City Lord's mansion. Among them, the City Lord of Monkey King City stood respectfully at the bottom, and there was a handsome and tall figure standing next to him. Some flying feathers of birds and beasts were floating on the hair ornaments on his head, which was very handsome. He is the City Lord who also guards Shayanayu City. Shayanayu City is a big family city. To be able to be the City Lord of the previous generation, the strength of this young man can be imagined. They both looked at the figure in front of them respectfully. There is a great sage in the Holy Land. He calculated that there will be changes in the Island of Kings, which will have an immeasurable impact on our world. The figure in front spoke. His voice was low, but it seemed to have a kind of magic that could not be ignored, which made people attracted and fall into it. The remains of the king. The City Lord of Monkey King City couldn't help but speak. In addition to the remains of the king, he couldn't think of anything else. He studied the remains of the king very deeply. Well, the great sage calculated that the remains of the king will appear in the world. It is a matter of great importance. Foreign monsters have coveted it for a long time. The 10 sacred mountains have sent top hunting groups to come and prepare to kill the monsters. With Yansheng here, what is a mere monster? The City Lord of Shayanayu City chuckled. Don't be careless. The figure shook his head. He is a recognized ace powerhouse below the ultimate king of the 2 holy places. His record of hunting monsters is so impressive that he was granted the title of saint. He has many methods, but the more he knows about foreign monsters, the more low-key and cautious he is. The horror of foreign monsters, like the City Lord of Shayanayu City, only knows a little bit. The 3 were talking. Boom. Suddenly, a large number of terrifying waves swept across the entire Island of Kings. The terrifying waves were like waves, spreading to the top of the entire island at an astonishing speed. Countless lives on the Island of Kings were horrified and panicked at the same time. Yansheng and other 3 figures rushed out of the City Lord's mansion in an instant and looked at the outside world. I saw that the Island of Kings had changed drastically. The flickering sky turned into a vast blood-colored glow. The mountains and rivers turned into a huge king body, and the rivers turned into rushing blood. A huge ancient king who covered the sky, and the sun stood up and stood out from the burial place. Boom. A punch was thrown. A dark flying boat in the sky was directly smashed and shattered. Chapter 546. The Power of One Punch. Breakthrough. Sudan was in the Abyss Cave. He was watching from the palace. After the message was sent, he waited quietly. The revived ancient king was too powerful. His aura alone was at the level of the 10 palaces Shura King. This level was not something Sudan could contend with. That was the ancient king, the ultimate king before the destruction of the void. The ultimate king body opened up an era, and even if he died, he still stood at the forefront of life. Because he had fused and evolved the blood of the origin, Sudan had a resonance and respect for this kind of ancient king. They were once the kings of the divine body system, the supreme strong ones. TSK, look at that body. It has been tens of millions of years since death, but it has never stiffened. It seems to still emit blood. The Lord of Purgatory of the Ninkid, and watched from a distance. He sneered, without the slightest respect. The long past, the destruction of the 2 worlds' galaxies was attributed to their purgatory life. At the beginning, there were purgatory life at the level of the prison master who came in wantonly, and it was these founders of the ultimate king body who resisted. No matter how terrible the body is, what's the use? The void has been pierced by my purgatory. Without the root of the world, the cultivation system has no power, and it will eventually be buried. Ninket sneered. The mouth on the evil face stretched out his tongue. to lick his black lips. He had the urge to taste what the body of the revived ancient king was like. But the surging blood was surrounding him, and the breath alone oppressed him, so that he couldn't move forward. The demon body trembled. If he got close, he would probably collapse in an instant. Boom. In the abyss cave, the revived ancient king had already crawled out half of his body from deep underground. In the endless darkness, the sound of surging water was faintly heard. Sudong heard it, and the two purgatory lords also heard it. Looking back, the terrifying lake that had long been invisible was now rising. A giant hand with golden light stretched out from the lake. The giant hand had dry skin and jagged joints, extending to the chest. The chest was torn apart. In the chest as wide as the earth, the heart was crushed and exploded. This former king had fought to the last moment when he fell, and now he was reviving. The breath of sorrow filled the entire abyss. Sudong was still in shock. There was indeed a great horror under the terrifying lake, and an ancient king was buried. Another dead body. It's really a burial ground. The lord of the purgatory of the Ning felt his scalp numb, but he snorted coldly. Their retreat was blocked at this moment, and it was impossible to return from the original route. The revived ancient king isolated everything. Sudong watched silently. The resurrection in the endless dark cave was still continuing. Not only the two ancient kings, but also more powerful ones were gradually waking up. They fought to the end in their lives, and never rested after death. They were still obsessed and wanted to do something with their broken bodies. The stone tablet records the 12 ultimate king bodies. Will the 12 ultimate kings from ancient times to the present be revived? This is the time of the king. On the island of kings, no one can stop it. No one can defeat it. Sudong was calculating in his heart. At this moment, he had seen 4 revived ancient kings in his divine eyes. He believed that this was just the beginning, and that this revivification was not simple. Boom. The blood of death surged in the dark cave. Rising, the first revived ancient king stood upright in the front. His appearance had long been covered by dust and dirt, and his face had passed away. Perhaps future generations had long forgotten this ancient sage who had fought for the world and history, but he could still get up and crawl out of the burial ground. He stretched out a giant hand surrounded by blood and tear opened the cave above. This tear was earth-shaking, containing supreme mystery and supreme power. Sudong saw this tear clearly, as if the giant who created the world tore the sky to prove his truth. This hand. Sudong was extremely shocked. He saw too many mysteries in this tear. The origin of death, swordsmanship. Just seeing this scene, Sudong felt suffocated and shocked. In the shock, he felt blessed. In an instant, he verified this method of tearing the sky with his own swordsmanship and the essence of Tao. The 8th level of Xian Wei Xian swordsmanship, the creation of heaven and earth. In the core data space, Sudong was practicing frantically, happily, to the extreme. At this moment, the shackles that had been stuck on the swordsmanship were instantly broken. That's it, the 8th level of Xian Wei Xian swordsmanship, the creation of heaven and earth, that's it. He was in a very happy mood. The feeling of this swordsmanship breakthrough was very wonderful, and his vision was also improved. In the past, the origin of the way of death was only vague, but now it was clearly visible. A page of the Death Sutra above the Sea of Souls in the Sumeru Buddha Kingdom reflected a large number of the mysteries of the way of death. The swordsmanship was being practiced, and the mysteries were flying. The swordsmanship in the past was accumulated step by step, and his talent and understanding were strengthened again and again, and finally reached a certain extreme at this moment. The swordsmanship of Xian Wei Xian broke through the 8th level and completely entered the middle and upper power level of the Holy Spirit Void Ancestor, and the power of the swordsmanship skyrocketed. With the artifact amplification, the super touch divine body amplification, and the ultimate mode amplification, the strength has skyrocketed. This feeling is really wonderful. Sudong was immersed in the breakthrough of the swordsmanship. The abyss cave was torn apart by the revived ancient king, and the flickering sky was reflected here again. Many light spots appeared in the sky, with terrible strong men gathering, and broken fragments of time and space floating. Boom. The body of the ancient king who was revived first stood upright, standing under the falling sky curtain, and sprinkled countless surging blood and energy. He was once the king of ancient times. Even if he fell, he was still extremely powerful. Now he has revived and returned. This book was recently updated in #@. Update. Boom boom boom. The entire island of kings was boiling, and all kinds of fluctuations sounded earth-shaking. Countless lives were startled. The legend came true, and the ancient king really returned. The two purgatory creatures frowned and looked at this scene. They were a little shaken. Can they compete with such a life with a few demon lords? The demon lord is best at controlling ancient corpses. This ancient corpse, no matter how powerful it is just a corpse. The true lord of purgatory, Nink, carefully hid in the corner of the ruined cave. He firmly believed that the arrival of the demon lord of purgatory would most likely easily subdue the revived ancient king, and the native life of this island of kings would suffer a catastrophe. At this time, a dark flying boat appeared in the sky above the island of kings. The flying boat was like a warship. It broke through the sky and rushed towards the island of kings. Here he comes. The demon lord is coming. Nink and Z were overjoyed. The dark flying boat was surging with demonic energy, which was the unique breath of their purgatory magic weapon. But their joy did not last long. Then the entire island of kings shook more violently. A huge mountain was pierced, and the towering ancient king stood up from it. The surrounding rivers turned into surging blood. One by one, the ancient kings re-entered the stage of history, and the first revived ancient king waved his fist. That supreme and magical punch stirred the flickering sky and swung directly at the flying boat. This was also the scene that the Monkey King City Lord and others saw. The world changed drastically. The ancient king revived and punched the flying boat on the horizon. The flying boat had no way to avoid it. There was magic light rising into the sky, but in front of the ancient king's fist, it was like paper and was easily knocked away and torn apart. The towering divine body of the revived ancient king, surrounded by blood-colored rosy clouds, plus the power of destroying the world, was like a guardian god, a giant, shocking the ages. It made all outsiders feel terrified. Nink and Z widened their eyes. Their faces were as hen. Demon Lord. The big man in their hearts was annihilated at this moment, and was directly killed and destroyed. However, all the lives on the island of kings began to kneel down excitedly to these ancient kings. Their former king is back. Sudong's breakthrough ended at this moment and he looked ahead. 11 towering figures stood between heaven and earth, standing in the front, guarding this world, this island, extremely glorious and majestic. But at first glance, Sudong felt confused. 11 figures? Why 11 figures? Aren't they the 12 ultimate king bodies? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 547. Strong Men Gather, Storms Rise. There should be 12 ancient kings who have returned and revived, but one has not returned yet. Could it be that he has not been buried here? Sudong was surprised. Then, he heard roars, and a figure shining in the sky appeared outside, and a flash of light flashed. It was unknown how far away, but there was a mysterious light coming down, and a strong man was approaching. The revived ancient kings were all resisting. How many strong men will come? It's too scary. Sudong was shocked by the 11 revived ancient kings standing between heaven and earth to resist the invaders. It was also shocked by these lights and shadows. The appearance of the king's relics and the resurrection of the ancient king shook the void of the two worlds, and also shocked the void life. Countless strong men who paid attention to the two worlds of the galaxy focused their attention on this island. Strong men descended from the void god court and the eternal Buddha realm. In the void extremely far away from the island of kings, a scarlet palace was moving forward at high speed, and there were two figures in the palace. The two figures were a man and a woman. The man had a cold and indifferent face, while the woman was extremely charming and handsome. The woman looked at the indifferent man next to her with eyes as clear as autumn water, showing great admiration and respect. They came from the Void God Court, and they were also the top hall masters guarding one side in the Void Temple. Of course, in terms of strength and status, the man was far superior to the charming goddess. I didn't expect that Uncle Tan would send you here. It seems that our god court really attaches great importance to this king's relics this time. The charming goddess looked at the man next to her. She was a 5th level Hall Master of the Void God Court, guarding one side of the void, and a peerless goddess of the generation, Zhao Lanruo. And this man was even more mysterious. Junior Sister Zhao, there are super artifacts and magical treasures in the king's relics. These secret treasures are of great use to my Void God Court, but don't worry. The indifferent man's voice was also cold. No matter what artifact or secret treasure you get, I don't want any of the rest, except the part you hand over to the God Court. Zhao Lanruo's eyes flashed immediately, but she was overjoyed in her heart. This time, the king's relics appeared in the world, and it contained precious treasures, which were enough for all the top forces to pay attention to. Even the masters and uncles behind them cared about it very much. But the Island of Kings was too dangerous. Would the mainstays of the major forces take risks? It was not worth it. Even the 2 sacred places of the 10 sacred mountains of the native life of the 2 worlds and the 2 holy places did not dare to send the ultimate king in. Once the ultimate king went in, he could only go in but not out, and he would be trapped. All forces did not dare to let the top powerhouses take risks, so the strength to enter the king's relics was stuck at the level of the 5-crown shuriken. First, the strength was enough, and second, if there was some damage, it could be afforded. Once there was something to gain, it would be a big gain. She would have made a big profit by getting a divine weapon in the king's relics. Senior brother Zifeng was modest, but you also saw that the ancient kings who revived in the king's relics had the strength of the master. It was not easy to avoid them and enter the king's relics. Goddess Zhao Lanruo shook her head. Don't worry, what we are best at is traveling through the void, and it is easy to avoid a few revived corpses. In the entire void, the Void God Court is famous for traveling through dangerous places and taking risks in the void. There are very few people who can stop their exploration. Boom. The Scarlet Palace penetrated the void at an astonishing speed, carrying the 2 strong men of the Void God Court into the void of the 2 worlds. They are just one of the many strong men who rushed to the Island of Kings. Just as the 6th Tiger Shuriken arranged, various forces are also arranging strong men to enter. The ruins of the king have long attracted the attention of all parties, and even the 6th Tiger Shuriken has a task to find them. It contains the remains and inheritance of the super ancient times, epic artifacts, and an almost complete divine body cultivation system. These are destined to be protected by the 10 great mountains and the 2 holy places. Purgatory life will fight for it, and void life will also fight for it. The road is vast. Cultivation requires resources, strength requires resources, and longevity requires more resources. If you want to control more, you must fight. Sudang still didn't know how big a storm the ancient king's resurrection that shook the world would bring to the void. He was dormant in the palace, watching everything outside from afar, and suddenly heard a strange sound. Someone else entered the abyss. Sudang frowned. At this moment, the original abyss cave was completely torn apart by the resurrected ancient king, and the mountains and rivers were all changing dramatically. The scene in the abyss is no longer a secret. Suddenly, Sudang felt a trace of burning sensation, which came from the soul, and came from the darkness. Greetings, Lord Flame Demon. The surprised voices of the 2 purgatory masters, Ninken and Zhee, came. These resurrected corpses still have some power left in their lifetime. No wonder they were able to block my purgatory impact tens of millions of years ago. A cold voice sounded. A cluster of black fire eyes emerged in the cave. Sudang looked outside through the palace, and saw at a glance that the floating black flame was slowly turning into a human form, which was extremely strange. Ninken Zhee bowed beside him, with an extremely respectful attitude. Even Zhee was like this, with a hint of awe. A higher level of purgatory life, according to him, escaped from that purgatory flying boat. Sudang's heart moved. He immediately became extremely careful. The purgatory flying boat was directly destroyed by a punch, and its power was endless. It could survive and sneak in here. This is too terrifying. Is that the entrance to the king's ruins? Have you tried to enter? The flame demon's voice was cold, looking through the revived ancient king to the corner of the stunning world. No. The 2 purgatory lords shook their heads. The revived ancient king has endless power and is blocking the front of the ruins. We dare not approach at all. This book was recently updated in #@@@@. Update. Yes, the power is too strong. Ninke also said. The flame demon carefully observed the entrance to the king's ruins. A corner of the entrance was exposed. The revived ancient king was now paying attention to the outside world, fighting against the life coming from the outside world. They had a chance. There is a barrier at the entrance. Break the barrier first. The flame demon's voice was cold. Wow. Suddenly, a rolling black flame emanated from the surface of the flame demon. The black flame burned fiercely and rose. A magic spear suddenly appeared in the palm of the flame demon in the flame. The magic spear was wrapped with circles of magic patterns, a total of 12 layers of magic patterns. Layer upon layer of magic patterns. Each layer has far more power than the 5-crown shuriken. This flame demon is not only good at saving lives, but also extremely powerful. Sudong watched. Boom. The flame demon swung his spear and poked directly forward. Suddenly, it seemed as if the sky was falling and the earth was collapsing. The shadow of the spear instantly pierced out and pierced the barrier of the king's ruins. The barrier roared. There is hope. This barrier is not strong. Ninke and Z both showed joy. But at this time, the flame demon, who was trying his best to break the barrier, suddenly frowned. A golden lightning instantly penetrated the black abyss and shot towards him. Whoosh! The golden lightning was too fast and rushed to the flame demon in almost the blink of an eye. The flame demon also attacked angrily at the first time, waving the magic spear. Golden lightning instantly penetrated the magic spear. Thunder flashed, and the flame demon retreated instantly. This sudden scene surprised Z and Ninke. Sudong in the palace was also surprised. That flame demon is powerful, and there is another one that is even stronger, with extremely fast speed and powerful power, emitting blood-colored rays of light, and is a local life. Sudong blinked. How come so many strong people suddenly appeared? The gathering of strong people will bring about a sudden storm. Chapter 548, Excalibur. Excalibur. This native life is powerful, and the purgatory life called Flame Demon is also very strong. Sudong watched silently. If I were to resist the thunder just now, I'm afraid I can only dodge it. How can I bear it? My divine body would have been damaged long ago. He had also fought with the Lord of Purgatory, so he knew what level his strength was at. That golden lightning has such violent blood and energy. He should have cultivated the 12 ultimate king bodies, but I don't know which one of the 12 ultimate king bodies he is. Recalling the sequence of the 12 ultimate king bodies. Golden lightning, thunder, very powerful, faster. Sudong thought to himself, among the 12 ultimate king bodies, the one that best fits this feature is the infinite assault king body or the thunderstorm king body. The 12 ultimate king bodies have different areas of expertise, but there are also similar ones. There are two types of entangled thunder and unparalleled burst power, and the one in front of him. He should be the thunderstorm king body, but he has also cultivated a powerful method. His own burst is strong, and there is a special method to stimulate it, which is even more amazing. Sudong guessed secretly. The ultimate king body has great potential, and is a great road. Once it prevails in the void, it will open up a new era. The two figures collided and clashed in just a moment. Break. The flame demon roared. The magic spear in his hand stabbed out fiercely, directly piercing a large amount of thunder and lightning. Boom. Piercing through the thunder and lightning, revealing a cold and indifferent man in it. The latter was holding a golden longsword, and was staring coldly at the flame demon in front of him. He waved the longsword in an instant, and the golden sword light of the longsword floated, emitting a little golden light. Thousands of golden lights flew wildly, completely surrounded the flame demon from all directions. Go, flame demon stab. The flame demon swung his gun and rushed straight forward while the magic light on his body surged. A pair of rotten bone wings appeared behind him, and his momentum suddenly surged and pressed against the golden sword light in front of him. It was like the god of death in the dark to harvest lives. The golden thunder figure was wrapped in lightning and jumped out in an instant. A section of the black spear tip in the endless magic light suddenly pierced into the air. A large amount of magic light was floating. Very good, you're running fast enough. The flame demon flapped his bone wings behind him and rushed out directly. The magic light covered a hemisphere along the traces he flew over, directly covering the golden thunder figure. Yansheng. Two more figures flew in from the abyss. Sudong looked over and recognized the Lord of Monkey King City at a glance. The Lord of Monkey King City and a handsome young man, the latter with a flying feather headdress on his head. It was the Lord of Shiranayu City. Behind them. It's here. Whoever blocks me will die. Several figures rushed in one after another. So many strong men. Sudong was shocked and looked into the distance. Another powerful god rushed in. Next to him was another powerful void man. The surging divine power surged. In addition to them, there were more powerful auras approaching from afar. The blood of the ancient king is weakening. Haha. After all, they are just a group of corpses. How long can they hold on? Ninke showed a happy expression. Unstoppable. The faces of the lords of Monkey King City and Shiranayu City were livid. If they could not stop it, it meant that they would face more severe tests and environments. Look, what is that? HMM. Among the crowd, a god suddenly pointed to the entrance of the king's ruins. Sudong's palace was attached to the dark. He was the closest. He was the first to come here. Naturally, he saw it most clearly at this moment. At the entrance of the king's ruins, the barrier was emitting a dazzling light. In the light, the hilt of a magic sword was slowly penetrating the entrance of the barrier. From the inside out. Slowly penetrating. It was a long sword that radiated orange rays of light, extremely magical, and the sword light contained infinite divinity. At this moment, everyone's eyes were focused on this magic sword. Is that a magic weapon? Sudong's eyes widened. It was called a magic weapon, but this magic sword was more magical than any magic sword he had ever seen, as if it contained endless Tao. Supreme power. Even though he had seen countless divine weapons in Huanquandeofu, and the top few divine weapons were beyond his reach, they were not as divine as the divine sword in front of him. The divine sword was unparalleled, and it was about to break out of the world. It's an epic divine sword. It really contains the relics left over from ancient times. An epic divine sword will be born. The gods who arrived were excited. The purgatory life also had a magic light in his eyes. An epic divine weapon. As long as it is recycled by us, it will be an epic magic weapon. Grab it. The flame demon held his breath. A big harvest. A big harvest. That's a holy weapon. Yansheng, the Lord of Monkey King City and the Lord of Shiranayu City all had blood and rosy glow in their eyes. A holy weapon is a treasure that can be activated by the power of blood and divine body. Only the peak strong men of the 10 great mountains have it, which is very rare. With a holy weapon, they are more powerful against foreign monsters. The divine sword is breaking the barrier. It has been sealed for a long time. Now it is going to appear in the world and actively break the barrier. Reveal its edge. Sudong saw it very clearly. How powerful must the divine sword be to break the barrier and come out? He had never thought that there would be such a divine weapon. You know, a sky divine sword is also a divine weapon, but compared with this divine sword, it is nothing. Go. The closest ones at the moment were the Nink Purgatory True Lord and the Z Purgatory True Lord. After all, they were the first batch to arrive. Yan Emo had left this area long ago because of his fight with Yansheng. This book was recently updated in #at. Update. You must grab the divine sword. Yan Emo sent a message to the 2 Purgatory True Lords. The 2 Purgatory True Lords rushed out in an instant. At the same time, the revived ancient king seemed to sense something and stepped down. Boom. Z was unable to dodge. No. He screamed in fear and urged the purgatory magic lamp in his hand. Puff. The flames of the purgatory magic lamp did not resist at all. The ancient king easily crushed it with one foot. The indestructible Lord of Purgatory, Z, was directly crushed into powder. Ding. The purgatory magic lamp fell below the stone wall, but no one paid attention to it at the moment. Everyone was paying attention to the barrier. No one noticed that the magic lamp disappeared the moment it landed. Z is dead. The Lord of Purgatory, Nink, was still in shock, and then his face was full of relief. Fortunately it wasn't me who got this magic sword. My contribution is incomparable. This time I'm rich. He was excited. Bow. The barrier rippled and shattered lightly. The magic sword came out, and the orange divine light shone throughout the abyss. The divine object moved people's hearts. Grab it. Yansheng, the Lord of Monkey King City, the Lord of Shiranayu City, and many void gods who came rushed over at the same time. Want to grab it? The flame demon shouted angrily. He urged the hemispherical magic light to cover the entire abyss cave to resist everyone. Bang, he couldn't stop it at all and was instantly blasted into a piece of black flames and then condensed again. Nink. It roared. It's mine. Ninka roared excitedly. That's mine. Sudong's eyes in the palace burst into an unprecedented divine light. How much strength can be improved by getting this magic sword? The value is immeasurable. It must be snatched into my hands. Whoosh. His figure instantly appeared at the forefront of the barrier, at the forefront, and he stretched out his left hand and grasped the magic sword. He held the magic sword and wanted to put it into the palace, but suddenly the space trembled. But Sudong's face changed slightly. The divinity of this magic sword is too strong. If it wants to show its edge, it can't be put into the core data space or storage bag at all. When he appeared, he was naturally discovered by everyone, and everyone looked over in amazement. There is actually someone else? King Shura. Ninka was stunned for a moment before acting. He roared and swung the magic blade directly. This King Shura dared to appear, looking for death. Sudong's eyes were cold. He pulled out the sky god sword behind him with one hand. The whole person's body instantly burst into a sword light that soared into the sky. The sword light was accompanied by the blood red glow that soared into the sky, and it reflected the divine light of the divine sword in his hand, illuminating the entire abyss. One person, one sword, facing the demons, gods, and kings in front of him alone. At this moment, the wind and clouds changed color, flickered, and the roar of the ancient king echoed between heaven and earth. The remains of the king finally appeared in the world. This world will change. It is destruction, but also dawn. In the abyss, murderous intent soared to the sky. End of this volume. Chapter 549. The sword is unsheathed, shocking the heroes. The murderer Sora was floating at the entrance of the king's ruins. A lot of eyes were looking at that figure with fiery and crazy eyes. Sudong, wearing a black robe, was holding a magic sword in his hand, which burst out with dazzling divine light. He just stood there and suddenly appeared with the magic sword in his hand. The Lord of Monkey King City, Yansheng, and even the flame demon of purgatory life, all looked over the magic sword. The flame demon's eyes instantly burst into cold light. There was no room for thinking at all. It instantly sent a message to Ninka frantically. Kill, kill, kill. The moment he sent the message, Ninka had already exploded, screaming in his mouth, waving the magic blade in his hand, and rushing to the first place. He attacked instantly, and the magic light in his eyes was surging, as if burning and gushing. Sudong drew his sword, and the sword light soared into the sky. Boom. A dazzling sword light shining with golden light, like a lightning of death, was so fast that even Ninka, the Lord of Purgatory, could not dodge it, and Ninka did not think of dodging, so why should he dodge? The Shura King in front of him was only as strong as him, and was no match for him at all. He was seen waving the magic blade in his hand like the wind, rushing forward in an overwhelming manner. He burst out with all his strength, and the magic light surged to form several layers of shields. The magic shields were extremely tough. Unless the 5 crowned Shura King's combat power could tear the shields apart. Because they had fought before, he believed that Sudong's strength could not even tear apart his magic light shield. But in an instant, the violent sword light burst out. Boom. 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 A sword light successively split the layers of magic light protecting the body of the true Lord of Purgatory of the Nink. Now that Sudong's divine body has broken through again, and the heavenly sword technique has broken through the 8th level, and then the ultimate mode has been activated, the power has already reached an incredible level. At the beginning, when the ultimate mode activated 100 times the power, he and the true Lord of Purgatory could fight on equal terms. The sword technique broke through, and the power reached the level of the Holy Spirit Void Ancestor, which was increased by nearly 60 times, and the 60 times power was increased by 100 times. The world is created. A huge Dharma body of the King of 10,000 Swords appeared behind Sudong. The golden sword light was so powerful that it seemed to have really turned into a sword that created the world. The sword light tore the magic light. The space in the entire abyss cave was completely torn into pieces by the sword light. The sword light fell directly on the demon body of Ninka, who looked unbelievable. Puff. The latter's demon body was instantly shattered. In the past, he had tried to assassinate Sudong. Although the assassination failed in the end, his strength was there, and he could still crush Sudan. But now, Sudan relied on his sword skills to improve and break through, his divine body to break through, and the ultimate mode to burst out, completely crushing it. Wow. The broken demon body condensed again, and instantly turned into Ninke again, looking at Sudan with horror. One sword shattered my demon body? A few more swords, I will die. Ninke's face was full of horror. He is a life form of purgatory, and it is difficult to kill him, but that is relative to ordinary attacks. Sudan's swordsmanship is so powerful that he can be easily killed with just a few strikes. Swish. Another blade light flashed. The blade that seemed to create the world appeared in front of him again. Die. Sudan's face was indifferent, and he didn't give the Lord of Purgatory any chance. Lord Flame Demon, save me. Save me. Ninke's demon body retreated frantically. King Shura. A cold voice suddenly entered Sudan's soul sea, and at the same time, a cluster of dark flames suddenly floated from a distance, accompanied by a gun shadow like a magic dragon. The gun shadow broke through the air and attacked at an astonishing speed, with layers of magic patterns compressed on the tip of the gun. Wherever it passed, the space was shattered, and the abyss was pierced. Bang! The tip of the spear caused the entire space to explode instantly. The power of the spear shadow was too strong. Sudan's face was cold and solemn. This spear, the power is probably at the level of the 7-crowned Shuriken. Xian Lo Wang Xiang. Sudan tried his best to dodge, and his body turned into black and white light. He tried his best to avoid the most terrifying and penetrating power of the spear tip, and then the knife light changed direction. The Xian Weishan sword technique was instantly displayed, and the sword light reflected the rich mystery of the way of death. It reflected each other, and formed a sword shadow in the air, that opened up the world. Compared with the previous sword, that seriously injured the Lord of Purgatory in Link, this sword was more bizarre, more fierce. The second sword, it directly rubbed the tip of the spear. Bang! The spear shadow pierced through the cave pillar behind Sudan, and the entrance to the King's Ruins barrier was completely blasted open, and the sword light flew out. The sword shattered the magic spear, and then Sudan fell into the depths of the abyss, and the magic spear flew out, flying into the hands of the flame demon. This made the flame demon frown, and look at Sudan. If you are not the Holy Spirit Void Ancestor, how can you be so powerful? The voice was cold, and the flame demon's murderous heart surged. Are you the Azura King of Huanquindeo with great potential? Sudan was surrounded by the Dharma body of the King of 10,000 Swords. Looking at the flame demon and many figures in front of him, he didn't say much. His current situation is extremely bad. He took action in an instant to shock everyone, so he had a chance to breathe. Even so, if he wants to make peace today, he still has to fight his way out. This flame demon came from the life of purgatory, and his level is higher than that of the Lord. Sudan saw it clearly in the palace before. One of the strongest people here is this flame demon. His face was grim, and many figures stopped. What a terrifying sword technique. Is the sword technique so powerful? This book was recently updated in #at. Update. Everyone was shocked. The sword technique of the sky in the void? The void god recognized it at a glance. He was amazed. No wonder he dared to seize the divine sword. With this level of power, I'm not his opponent, but his aura is only that of a divine emperor. Through the aura, it is easy to feel that Sudan does not have the pressure of the Holy Spirit Void Ancestor. A divine emperor with such strong power must be the top Shuriken genius of Huanquindeo. With such strong power, it is not easy to seize the divine sword from him. Let's take a look first. Both the purgatory life and the native life are very strong. The gods watching from afar, who were only strong people at the same level as the Nink, all retreated in fear. Sudan's sword burst scared them. Going up would be to die, and at this moment, there were two strong men, Yan Emo and Yan Sheng, in charge. Grabbing the divine sword would only make himself a target of public criticism. It's not our native life, but its blood is so strong. Yan Sheng looked at Sudan with strange eyes. The Lord of Monkey King City secretly transmitted a message to Yan Sheng, telling him about Sudan's cleansing of the alien monsters. When Yan Sheng heard it, the murderous aura on his body decreased a lot. For a moment, all the strong men in front of the entrance of the King's Ruins temporarily gave up fighting Sudan. They knew very well that with Sudong's strength, only Yan Mo and Yan Sheng could suppress him. And they joined forces. The parties did not come from the same place, and they were afraid of each other, even if they joined forces, so they naturally could not unite. At this moment, everyone was watching the Shuriking and the Yan Mo fighting. The Lord of Purgatory of the Ning hid far away, hiding behind the Yan Mo, and looking at Sudong. He was unwilling to accept that the Shuriking, who had once suppressed him, had become so strong in the blink of an eye. Unwilling, humiliating. The Yan Mo's body burned with black flames, while Sudong covered the King of 10,000 Swords' Dharma body. The two figures confronted each other. Hand over that magic sword, and I will let you leave alive. Yan Mo spoke, his voice cold. Whoosh. Sudong's divine body turned into a black and white light in an instant, flying directly into the sky. Now that the magic sword is in his hand, he can just burst out with strength to shock the heroes. Really fight here? Do you think he is stupid? Want to escape? The flame demon instantly turned into a black flame and chased after him. Not to mention that Sudong had seized the precious sword. Just his identity as the Azura King of Huanquindeo made the flame demon want to kill him. If he let him go, it would only shake Sudong's fighting spirit. With such high potential, killing an Azura King would be a great achievement. The flame demon turned into flames and chased after him. But then his face changed. Everyone's face changed. So fast. What kind of speed is that? The flame demon who chased after him was instantly thrown away, and the distance between them suddenly widened. The speed was not at the same level at all. Sudong's waist was wrapped in black and gold, and his speed suddenly soared. Looking back, he still had a smile on his face. Chapter 550, Divine Sword Blood Kill. Haha, this flame demon is not as fast as me. Sudong activated the Cheyenne Hua belt, and his divine body broke through again. After the breakthrough, all aspects of his divine body were far superior to the past. Sudong's body skills were already very mysterious, and with the improvement of his foundation, his speed exploded, which was several times faster than before. The several times improvement completely led to Sudong's speed being far ahead of others. The face of the flame demon wrapped in black flames changed. He snorted coldly and fell into the abyss. Ninke watched unwillingly. In the past, he knew that the Shuriking was good at speed and had a strong ability to escape. Now his speed is even faster. Even the demon lord can't catch up. It's also because the flame demon is good at attacking, not good at speed. Sudong was entangled in black and white light and flew into the sky, so fast that people looked up to him. What a fast speed. No wonder you are confident that you can snatch the treasure in front of us. With this speed, what place are you afraid to go? The strong man of the body skills flow is not only difficult to deal with, but also has first class means of survival, because the speed is fast enough and the ability to escape is also very strong. Come and go freely, and you can run away at any time if you can't beat him. Where is the purgatory magic lamp in the hands of Z? The flame demon fell into the abyss, and then he remembered the magic lamp that the Lord of Hell gave to Z to bind and trap his enemies. Magic lamp? Ninke opened his eyes wide. He looked at the place where Z fell, and then he remembered that Sudong had just emerged from there. Ah, the magic lamp also fell into his hands. Ninke, the Lord of Purgatory, vomited blood in pain. The flame demon snorted coldly. Let's go. Enter the king's ruins. He wanted to rush into the entrance of the barrier. Before he entered, an epic artifact flew out automatically. The number of treasures in it can be imagined. Want to go in? Yan Sheng rushed over to stop him. Stop me? The two powerful men fought each other in an instant and fought again. Sudong held the magic sword, emitting a soaring light, floating in the sky, very eye-catching. Seeing that no one was chasing him, he closed the Cheyenne Hua belt to accelerate. Suddenly, a figure rushed out from the sky, and the figure turned into a stream of light, with divine power surging around him, and instantly fell beside Sudong. He turned into a young man with a divine halberd on his body, a special mark on his brow, and a vast power. But, looking at the young man, the Deofu talisman on Sudong's waist vibrated, and a smile suddenly appeared on his face. I'm the Shuriking of Huanquindeo. A lot of information came as soon as he sensed it. Sudong Shuriking? The young man spoke with great momentum. Looking at Sudong, His long hair was flying, and he had a dull temperament, but his strength should not be underestimated. He glanced at the magic sword in Sudong's hand. The magic sword was sharp. It was not an ordinary thing at first glance, and it was extremely magical, but it was too ostentatious to expose it to the public. However, as the Shuriken of Daofu, they would naturally not fight for it. As the Shuriken of Daofu, unless they were openly competing and dueling, it was strictly forbidden to fight each other. What's more, Sudong was backed by the Shuriken of Yama Palace, who would dare to move. Brother Dao, you have gained a lot, the young man said enviously. Zenki Shuriken. Sudong smiled and responded. The Shuriken in front of him was the 6th Crown Shuriken, under the command of the 6th Tiger Shuriken. He was once a top genius king, but it was said that he encountered setbacks and his character changed drastically. Even after breaking through the Holy Spirit Void Ancestor, he still liked to go into some dangerous places. He dared to go into dangerous places countless times and survived, which proved his strength. Seeing Sudong talking to him leisurely without any courtesy, to face a high-level Shuriken, Zenki Shuriken frowned secretly in his heart. This Sudong seems a little arrogant. However, the latter is a king under the command of the Shuriken of the Yama Palace, with a very high status and extraordinary talent, so he naturally attracts much attention. This attitude is normal. The Shuriken of the Yama Palace is willing to let you come to the void of the two worlds, he exclaimed. What's the situation below? Zenki Shuriken asked. The king's relics have appeared in the world, and the entrance has been opened. There are purgatory lives that are more powerful than the Lord of Purgatory at the entrance, as well as many local lives. It's very chaotic. It's amazing to get such a divine object in the chaos. Zenki Shuriken praised, and then rushed down directly. His personality is to love adventure. There is no fear at all. Sudong took a look, and did not go back. He got the magic sword in his hand, and notified the 6th Tiger Shuriken. He had done everything he could. In the ultimate mode, he could reach the peak level by bursting 3 attacks to compete with the level of Flame Demon. Now he has used it twice. After the ultimate mode, he is not qualified to compete again. Although the King's Ruins is a treasure land, it is not something I can enter now. Sudong activated his body skills and flew towards a part of the island. The revived ancient king is still guarding this island, and the dead air and blood are rising. The sky and the earth were pierced, but the ban is still there. Sudong tried to fly into the sky, but there was an invisible barrier blocking him, and he couldn't fly out at all. A corner of the edge of the island. While the abyss was still fighting, Sudong flew to the edge of the island. He tried to enter the palace magic weapon with the magic sword, but the magic sword was too sharp, and he couldn't enter at all. This book was recently updated in update. Sudong could only stand on the beach with the divine sword emitting divine light. We must solve the problem of this divine sword. Let's try to refine it first. Treasures are both a blessing and a curse. This divine sword is too ostentatious. Sudong's soul condensed into a thread. He tried to enter the core of the divine sword. Suddenly, a lot of information came. Epic artifact, divine sword blood break, all sword skills are amplified by 45 times, and after being stained with the blood of the enemy, the amplified power is increased by another 50 times. The conditions for recognizing the master are that the realm level reaches the level of the Holy Spirit Void Ancestor or the divine body level reaches the immortal level. There are restrictions on the conditions for recognizing the master. It must be the Holy Spirit Void Ancestor or the immortal level. What is this immortal level? Sudong was surprised. This is an ancient divine sword, which contains a lot of information that Sudong feels unfamiliar with, but the extraordinary power of the divine sword still makes him feel amazed. The power of all sword skills is increased by 45 times, and the effect is increased by another 50 times, after being stained with the blood of the enemy. That is a full 95 times the power, which is almost catching up with his ultimate mode burst. What a great artifact. It's a pity that it's a sword technique that can be amplified. It would be better if it was a knife technique that can be amplified. Sudong shook his head. He had been thinking about improving his strength before. No matter what, try to recognize the master first, and then put it away. Sudong tried to imprint the soul mark into the core of the magic sword, but The core of the magic sword shook slightly, and a burst of sharp sword energy burst out, instantly erasing his soul mark. Can't the Holy Spirit Zuzu recognize the master? Sudong was silent. Try to recognize the master with the blood of the gods. Sudong made a slight adjustment, and then the tip of his right finger wiped it, and the knife light flashed, and a wound appeared. The wound appeared, and scarlet blood flowed out. Sudong guided the blood of the gods to drip onto the blood-killing sword. Suddenly, the blood-killing sword was like a sponge, absorbing and penetrating Sudong's blood. It worked. Sudong showed a happy expression. Then the divine light flashed. The sword energy danced, and countless sword lights rose up on the entire beach. Some of these sword lights were cheerful, some were cold, some were gentle, and some were violent. In just a moment, all the sword lights disappeared. Whoosh! The light on the surface of the magic sword also suddenly retreated, and completely entered the core of the magic sword. The entire magic sword turned into a 7-foot-long pale golden longsword. Ding! The golden longsword jumped up and floated in front of Sudong. Sudong's mind moved, and he could feel a sense of blood connection. The magic sword in front of him suddenly turned into a golden thread and sank into his chest. A magic sword phantom appeared on Sudong's chest, and the magic sword phantom was covered with complex divine patterns. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.